Chapter 2241. Both sides suffer. Tianlong and Shengguang exchanged a few more words. From their conversation, Lin Moyu could deduce that Shengguang's status within the dragon clan was not as high as Tianlong's. Tianlong was a divine dragon, while Shengguang was merely a holy dragon. The hierarchy within the dragon clan was very strict, with elemental dragons, holy dragons, and divine dragons each having distinctly different statuses. Although Shengguang was conveying the words of some elders within the dragon clan, his tone was noticeably respectful. Tianlong seemed to have made a mistake and was punished by being sent here, losing 5 dragon pearls in the process. However, Tianlong clearly refused to admit his mistake. He didn't believe he was wrong, so how could he admit it? Tianlong's situation was very similar to Antares's, but Antares's situation was even worse. At least Tianlong was still in the boundary region and could move freely within it. Antares, on the other hand, was trapped in a small world, unable to move. Before meeting Lin Moyu, Antares didn't even have anyone to talk to. In comparison, Tianlong's situation was slightly better. Unable to persuade Tianlong, Shengguang could only leave in frustration. After Shengguang left, Tianlong looked towards Lin Moyu's location. Come out. Lin Moyu removed the concealment talisman. The concealment talisman could fool Shengguang but not Tianlong. Currently, Shengguang was still at the Saint Lord level, while Tianlong, having retrieved a dragon pearl, had returned to the half-step supreme level. Tianlong looked at Lin Moyu. You heard everything? Lin Moyu nodded. Yes, I heard it all. Tianlong asked, what do you think? Lin Moyu waved his hand. Although I don't know the details, my sister once said something that suits you well. Tianlong's eyes swept over, as if asking, what did she say? Lin Moyu said, do what you believe is right. Do what you believe is right. Tianlong chewed on this phrase and suddenly let out a fierce dragon roar. Well said, do what you believe is right. Your sister is quite something. After a burst of wild laughter, Tianlong looked at Lin Moyu. Tell me, what brings you here this time? Lin Moyu waved his hand, tossing the dragon pearl to Tianlong. I found the second dragon pearl for you. I also know where the third one is. I'll retrieve it when I get the chance. Seeing the dragon pearl, Tianlong's eyes filled with joy, followed by confusion. If you know where the third one is, why wait for the opportunity? Lin Moyu said, the location of the third one is very dangerous. I'm not entirely confident I might die. Moreover, the human race is currently facing some troublesome issues that need to be resolved first. Tianlong carefully examined the dragon pearl and casually said, what kind of trouble could the human race have? After speaking, he breathed out a dragon breath, which turned into flames enveloping the dragon pearl. Tianlong muttered to himself, this dragon pearl has been used by someone, contaminated with impurities, and needs to be purified. Which filthy creature dared to contaminate my dragon pearl? If I find out, I'll kill them with a single breath. Lin Moyu said, you won't have the chance. The Eagle Emperor is already dead. Tianlong responded with an, oh, lucky for him. If I were around, I'd refine his soul for thousands of years. Tell me, what trouble is the human race facing? Let's see if I can help. Lin Moyu had been waiting for this question and immediately asked, do you know about the Black Blood Calamity? While purifying the dragon pearl, Tianlong muttered, Black Blood Calamity. Sounds familiar. Let me think. The dragon clan had arrived in the Great World in ancient times. Throughout the ancient Great War, the dragon clan had always been observers. Perhaps the dragons of that time were not the same as Tianlong now, but the dragon clan's information had been passed down. Lin Moyu thought Tianlong might know. After thinking for a moment, Tianlong finally found the answer in his distant memory. I remember now. The Black Blood Calamity is an attack triggered by the origin power of the Black Blood Great World. Lin Moyu immediately asked, is the Black Blood Calamity very powerful? Tianlong chuckled, what do you think? Anything involving origin power can't be weak. Indeed, anything involving the word, origin, is very powerful. Even in the small world, there is origin power. When Lin Moyu sought to become the master of the small world and gain its recognition, he put in a lot of effort. The origin power of the great world is even more powerful. Lin Moyu continued to ask, is there a way to stop the Black Blood Calamity? Tianlong continued, nothing in the world is unstoppable, but first, you need to understand it to stop it fundamentally. Lin Moyu perked up his ears, listening carefully. Tianlong was about to start teaching. First of all, the origin of the Black Blood Great World is blood. Their laws, power, and attacks all come from blood. They can consume and accumulate their own blood energy, transforming it into immense combat power. They can also absorb external blood energy and refine it into various treasures. The previous Eye of Filth was made by collecting thousands of filthy blood. The Black Blood Calamity is the same. It's an expression of the origin power of the Black Blood Great World. To stop it, you must destroy the origin. Back in the day, when the Black Blood Great World launched the Black Blood Calamity, your human race had no particularly good countermeasures. Even with the combined efforts of several heavenly sovereigns, it was difficult to stop. In the end, you had to use the origin power of the Great World to block it. But that time, the origin of the Great World was severely damaged. Although you won in the end, it was actually a situation where both sides suffered. Lin Moyu suddenly understood. He finally learned about the ancient Great War from Tianlong. It turned out that because of the Black Blood Calamity, the two worlds fought with their origin powers, resulting in mutual destruction. A part of the mystery was unveiled, and Lin Moyu saw the cause and effect. Lin Moyu whispered, the Great World was severely damaged and difficult to recover. What about the Black Blood Great World? I went to the Boundary Sea and didn't see the Black Blood Great World. Tianlong laughed heartily, not seeing it as normal, seeing it would be abnormal. Tianlong was in a good mood. The dragon pearl was being purified and would soon be absorbed, allowing him to regain some of his strength. He didn't hide anything from Lin Moyu. Even things he shouldn't say, he didn't care. Anyway, he had already fallen out with the dragon clan, and Tianlong had entered a state of indifference. After laughing for a while, Tianlong continued, in the final stages of the ancient Great War, your human race should have been the victorious side. The heavenly sovereigns thought they could plunder the origin of the Black Blood Great World, just like they had plundered other worlds' origins before. If they had succeeded, the origin of the Great World would have reached a new level. Perhaps a Tao sovereign would have been born in the Great World. The strongest in the Black Blood Great World sacrificed themselves, using the origin of the Black Blood Great World to launch the Black Blood Calamity. The collision of the two worlds' origins severely damaged the origin of the Great World, and the Black Blood Great World directly collapsed. The Black Blood Great World actually collapsed. This result surprised Lin Moyu. No wonder he didn't see the Black Blood Great World in the Boundary Sea, it had already collapsed. Tianlong paused for a moment and continued, the people of the Black Blood Great World didn't all die. They, along with the shattered Black Blood Great World, merged into the Great World. The origin of the Black Blood Great World was shattered but not exhausted. Lin Moyu understood. The cultivators of the Black Blood Great World didn't all die, and the origin of the Black Blood Great World wasn't completely exhausted. So over the years, the remnants of the Black Blood Great World had been searching and laying out plans, trying to trigger the Black Blood Calamity again. The River of Time earlier was just an appetizer, the Black Blood Calamity was the real killer move. Compared to the demons, the Black Blood Great World was much harder to deal with. However, Lin Moyu thought of a possibility. Since the origin of the Black Blood Great World still exists, what if we let the Great World absorb it? Tianlong laughed heartily, you're not trying to save the Great World, you're trying to kill it. Amidst the laughter, the dragon pearl finished purifying and was swallowed by Tianlong in one gulp. Chapter 2242, 2242. Chapter 2242, at most 1/3 will die. Tianlong laughed somewhat maniacally. After swallowing the dragon pearl, his aura began to rise rapidly. In an instant, he broke through from half-step supreme to full supreme. The return of the dragon pearl allowed his power to be restored. A huge rule world appeared, fundamentally different from a Saint Lord's rule world. A Saint Lord's rule world is constructed from their own rule power. A Supreme's rule world requires the integration of origin power. Lin Moyu is from the Great World, so if he becomes a Supreme, his origin power would come from the Great World. Tianlong's origin power comes from the dragon race. Of course, this isn't necessarily the case. If there are other ways to obtain origin power, one can also become a Supreme. Dragon roars echoed from within the rule world, becoming stronger and more real. Tianlong laughed excitedly, how many years has it been? This old dragon has finally returned to the Supreme realm. Lin Moyu also congratulated him, congratulations on returning to Supreme. Tianlong was in an extremely good mood, laughing loudly, the origin of the Black Blood Great World is very special and cannot be absorbed. Forcibly absorbing it would only lead to contamination and eventually assimilation. You think those guys stirred up the Black Blood Calamity to destroy the human race? You're mistaken. What they really want is to contaminate the Great World's origin. As long as they contaminate the Great World's origin, the Black Blood Great World can assimilate the Great World, ultimately replacing it and becoming a new Black Blood Great World. I know you have questions, but don't ask. The origin of the Black Blood Great World is terrifying. I can't speak of it, I can't. Tianlong seemed somewhat deranged in his laughter, perhaps due to excessive excitement. He ultimately didn't truly lose his sanity. There were some things that absolutely could not be said, and he wouldn't mention them. Lin Moyu now fully understood the essence of the matter, but unfortunately, he couldn't think of a solution on his own. He could only continue to seek help from Tianlong. Then what about methods to stop it? Tianlong had said earlier that nothing in the world is unstoppable. Now that he understood the essence, Lin Moyu just needed a method. Tianlong said, "It's simple, just destroy the origin." Lin Moyu said, "The Black Blood Great World has placed the world origin in different spacetimes. I've already destroyed one, but for the remaining few, I'm powerless." Tianlong laughed, "You may not have a way, but I do. I said before, if you bring back the Dragon Pearl, I can make a move for you once. For Antares' sake, I'll increase my promise a bit more." With several pops, 3 dragon scales below Tianlong's neck flew out, transforming into 3 palm-sized divine dragons that landed in Lin Moyu's hand. Tianlong said, "Take these. They contain my origin power. Each divine dragon can consume 1 origin crystal. The origin of the Black Blood Great World is dangerous. You can't touch it or absorb it." Lin Moyu didn't stand on ceremony and accepted them straightforwardly. "Thank you, Tianlong. Besides this, are there any other methods?" Tianlong said, "Of course there are. Don't you have the 4 battlegrounds? In each battleground, there's an origin divine beast. They were nurtured by your great world's origin power into cosmic giant beasts. They have ways to deal with the polluted blood." Lin Moyu immediately thought of the huge vermilion bird in the core of the vermilion bird battleground, and the egg in its belly. It's said that the vermilion bird possesses the ability of nirvana. The vermilion bird in the battleground has existed for countless years, always maintaining the same state, showing no signs of undergoing nirvana. Hearing Tianlong's words, Lin Moyu finally understood the origin of the vermilion bird, so they're origin divine beasts nurtured by the Great World. "They're not dead yet," Tianlong said, "as long as the Great World doesn't perish, they won't die. However, when the Great World was severely injured, they were also heavily wounded and have been in slumber ever since. You can try to awaken the vermilion bird. It's the most special among the 4 origin divine beasts, possessing the ability of nirvana. Perhaps it can be revived. But even if it can't be revived, it doesn't matter. The origin of the Black Blood Great World is no longer sufficient. You've destroyed 1 portion yourself, and I'll help you deal with 3 more. Even if they can launch the Black Blood Calamity, I'm afraid it won't do much to the human race. At most, it might submerge 1/3 of the human race's star regions, or even less." Tianlong spoke as if it were a matter of course, but Lin Moyu felt his scalp tingle as he listened. 1/3 of the human race's star regions, how many people would that be? 10 trillion, or 100 trillion, this level of loss is something the human race cannot bear. Lin Moyu naturally wouldn't let such a thing happen. He said to Tianlong, "I'll go back and deal with the Black Blood Great World first. Once I've taken care of them, I'll go retrieve the 3rd Dragon Pearl for you." Tianlong smiled and said, "Go on then. I believe you can handle it." Lin Moyu nodded, spread his wings of the dead, opened a space gate, and turned to leave. After Lin Moyu left, Tianlong muttered to himself, "Perhaps the Great World can still be saved. But even if it perishes, so what? Even if the Great World is destroyed, this old dragon won't die." His form became illusory, coiled around the great tree, emitting light. The sound of water could be heard around him. The projection of the boundary sea appeared in space. Tianlong's consciousness left the Great World and appeared above the boundary sea. The Great World came into his view, and at the same time, he saw the Battle Realm in the distance. The Battle Realm was drifting towards the Great World. In another 1,200 years, the two would collide. Tianlong muttered to himself, "That world looks a bit small. If it plunders the origin of the Great World, it could grow quite a bit larger. At worst, this old dragon can move house and stay in that world. It's just that finding dragon pearls might be difficult. I hope that little fellow doesn't disappoint this dragon." Tianlong had confidence in himself. Even if the Great World were destroyed, he could still live well. So there was no way Shengguang could persuade him. Lin Moyu returned at the fastest speed. Along the way, he began to consider which origin crystals to destroy. Should it be the 2 that run through the human race's star regions, or the 3 in the dark void? If the black blood calamity is viewed as a formation, then each origin crystal is a node of the formation. If the appropriate nodes are destroyed, perhaps the black blood calamity could be prevented. But Lin Moyu didn't understand the formations of the black blood great world. He didn't know if there were connections between the origin crystals, or if nodes were even necessary. He thought of what Tianlong had said: the power of the black blood calamity would be greatly reduced but not eliminated. In other words, no matter which nodes he destroyed, the black blood calamity would still occur in the end. Lin Moyu thought for a moment and knew what he should do. He couldn't gamble on probabilities, so he would deal with the 3 origin crystals closest to the human race. Re-entering the dark void between the vermilion bird and white tiger regions, he quickly found the location of the polluted blood. The origin crystal was enveloped by the polluted blood, completely invisible. Previously, using other shore realm corpses to clear the way, he had blown up a large amount of polluted blood to see the origin crystal. Lin Moyu took out one divine dragon and placed it on the polluted blood. The 2 were in different spacetimes and didn't collide. Then the divine dragon suddenly grew larger, instantly becoming over 10,000 meters long, transforming into a majestic divine dragon. With a resounding dragon roar, the divine dragon breathed dragon breath towards the polluted blood. The dragon breath contained a trace of Tianlong's origin power, evolving into infinite flames that ignored spacetime limitations and directly burned the polluted blood. Lin Moyu immediately sealed off his soul. When the polluted blood burned, the stench instantly increased 100-fold, enough to kill a divine lord. He couldn't withstand it at all. The dragon breath quickly burned away the polluted blood, revealing the origin crystal. The divine dragon roared and charged forward, swallowing the origin crystal in one bite. Chapter 2243, 2243. Chapter 2243. Stealing the bird's egg. Lin Moyu could sense that the divine dragon contained Tianlong's origin power. Although the origin power wasn't strong, its purity was very high, containing a vast and majestic aura. The origin crystal of the black blood great world also contained origin power, but it was more sinister and terrifying, exuding an aura of decay. The 2 types of origin power were completely different and collided with each other. The divine dragon's body rapidly expanded, starting to inflate dramatically. Lin Moyu instinctively retreated over 10,000 miles, watching from afar. The divine dragon didn't explode. After its body expanded to a certain degree, it suddenly shrank like a deflating balloon. As it shrank, its body began to dissolve, finally disappearing completely. The origin crystal of the black blood great world was also gone, having perished together with the divine dragon. So this is the result of origin powers clashing. Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. Back then, the great world had also fought like this, using origin power to resist, and ended up severely injured. The black blood great world was even more shattered, breaking apart on the spot. It seemed like the great world had won, but the result was actually mutual destruction. After dealing with one origin crystal, Lin Moyu headed to the next area of dark void to deal with the other 2 origin crystals. Tianlong's power was very strong. Lin Moyu felt that the origin power within it was not just at the ordinary supreme level. He thought Tianlong might possibly be a heavenly sovereign, or at least at the peak of supreme realm. When all the dragon pearls were retrieved, it was hard to say how powerful Tianlong would become. Lin Moyu worked tirelessly, resolving the origin crystals of the black blood great world at the fastest speed. In this way, the arrangements the black blood great world had made over many years were directly dismantled by more than half. Lin Moyu didn't know where the remnants of the black blood great world were hiding, but he could imagine they must be furious now. All their hard work and arrangements over so many years were so easily destroyed, how could they not be angry? You only have yourselves to blame for emerging earlier. If you hadn't shown yourselves, we might not have thought of you. Lin Moyu muttered to himself as he returned to the human race's star region and contacted the Human Emperor Network, briefly explaining what he had done. The black blood calamity hadn't been completely resolved yet, so he still needed to continue. The Human Emperor's voice came through. A large number of cultivators have already headed to the 4 battlegrounds. They will search for the black blood great world's location first. Be careful yourself, the vermilion bird is not easy to approach. Lin Moyu said, I'll be careful. In the past, some people had tried to approach the vermilion bird, hoping to obtain the egg under its belly, but they were all burned to ashes by the vermilion bird's fire. The vermilion bird's fire contained the origin of the great world. Not just ordinary cultivators, even Saint Lords couldn't withstand it. Lin Moyu also didn't know if he would succeed on this trip, but he had to at least try. With the space gate, travel became extremely convenient, much faster than transmission arrays. In just half a day, Lin Moyu had already arrived at the core area of the vermilion bird battleground. Thinking of how he had almost gotten lost here before, Lin Moyu couldn't help but smile self-mockingly. Looking back now, he was so weak then, but his experiences were incredibly rich. At that time, Zhu Qiwu had taken good care of him, but now he was so busy he didn't even have a chance to have tea with him. Since he started cultivating, even his closed-door cultivation time was carefully calculated. He truly hadn't stopped for a moment. Born to toil. With self-mockery, he arrived at the area where the vermilion bird was located and felt the omnipresent heat. The vermilion bird's flames continuously emitted heat, hotter than even stars. It not only scorched the flesh but also burned the soul. There were many cosmic beasts here, mostly at the Divine Lord realm. They absorbed the heat but didn't dare to get too close. Lin Moyu's knowledge was now different from before, far surpassing the former Zhu Qiwu. The vermilion bird contained origin power, which was released along with the flames. This power was beneficial to the cosmic beasts. Lin Moyu's arrival didn't attract anyone's attention. The cosmic beasts here had grown lazy, almost abandoning their territorial instincts. If you didn't provoke them, they wouldn't provoke you. Lin Moyu turned into a stream of light and flew towards the vermilion bird. As the distance decreased, the heat began to rise sharply. Soon the heat exceeded the Divine Lord realm, reaching a level that could harm those in the other shore realm. The undying golden body activated, covering his body surface with a layer of undying flames, with golden light flickering like stars within. The undying golden body blocked the heat, and at the same time, flames suddenly ignited outside his soul world, starting to roast his soul. Anyone approaching the vermilion bird would have their soul subjected to the burning of flames. Fortunately, Lin Moyu's soul world was strong enough to temporarily withstand the vermilion bird's flames without issue. When the distance was reduced to 10,000 miles, the intensity of the flame burning increased again, reaching the Saint Lord level. Before setting out, the human emperor had mentioned that the limit a Saint Lord could reach was 10,000 miles. Going any further would be dangerous. Lin Moyu had his rule world to maintain his form, coupled with a Saint Lord level soul. Standing here, he could barely withstand it. As for his flesh body with the undying golden body, the pressure was relatively much less. If he continued to approach, there would indeed be danger. From 10,000 miles away, Lin Moyu could clearly sense that the vermilion bird was in deep slumber. It had no consciousness and couldn't communicate. He tried calling out with his soul, but even the call was burned by the flames, unable to transmit over. I must get closer. Lin Moyu pondered ways in his mind. To get closer, he would need to be at least at the half-step supreme level, or possess origin power. Half-step supreme, origin power. Lin Moyu had a sudden idea, I can try the origin spell. After reaching the other shore realm, Lin Moyu didn't know where his limit was. Origin spell. Gather power. With a thought, an aura of origin power rose from his body. His aura immediately awakened many cosmic beasts. One by one, they looked towards Lin Moyu, the origin power highly attractive to them. But when they saw Lin Moyu's position clearly, they all backed down. That was an area they couldn't approach. Getting close meant death. The fact that Lin Moyu could stand there meant his strength was terrifying. Cosmic beasts might not have brains, but their instincts told them not to seek death. Lin Moyu's realm began to rise rapidly, getting stronger and stronger. From the early stage of the other shore realm, he quickly rose to the middle stage, then to the late stage. At the late stage of the other shore realm, which is the Saint Lord level, one begins to construct their own rule world. Lin Moyu didn't construct his own rule world, but his power had truly reached this level. It was a very strange feeling. He clearly didn't have a rule world, yet possessed the power of a Saint Lord. One could only say that there are countless paths in the world's Tao, perhaps reaching Saint Lord doesn't necessarily require a rule world. Lin Moyu had no time to ponder this question for now. He was still continuously drawing power, raising his realm further. Soon, he touched upon the power of an even higher level, the Supreme Realm. However, it was just initial contact, seeing some of the mysteries of the Supreme Realm. This level, not quite supreme but higher than Saint Lord, is called Half-Step Supreme. The moment he reached half-step supreme, Lin Moyu knew he had reached his limit state and couldn't improve further. He didn't waste even 0.01 seconds, directly crossing over 10,000 miles to charge towards the vermilion bird. Raging flames instantly ignited on his body, the flames scorching his flesh and soul. Lin Moyu ignored it all, rushing to the vermilion bird's side in one breath. Just as he was about to reach out and touch the vermilion bird, his soul sent a warning that he couldn't do this, it would be dangerous. Lin Moyu immediately withdrew his hand and turned to look at the vermilion bird egg under its belly. Chapter 2244, 2244. Chapter 2244. Vermilion Bird's Nirvana, Origin Divine Beast. The warning of danger still echoed in his soul. Touching the vermilion bird egg was equally dangerous, but it was slightly better than directly touching the vermilion bird. The flames of the vermilion bird grew even more intense, giving Lin Moyu the illusion that he could be burned to ashes at any moment. Lin Moyu steeled his heart, gathering the laws of time and space together. The power of time and space flowed, temporarily allowing him to enter a different time and space. In a different time and space, he should theoretically be immune to all harm, as the two were in different dimensions and shouldn't be able to interact. However, reality proved otherwise. The vermilion bird's flames contained a trace of origin power, which could traverse time and space, continuing to burn his flesh and soul. The vermilion bird's origin power can penetrate time and space, so it can naturally attack the origin crystal of the Black Blood Great World. Tianlong was right, the vermilion bird indeed has the ability to deal with the origin crystal. Now, I just need to awaken it. Lin Moyu was both surprised and delighted. With determination, he endured the flames and touched the vermilion bird egg. The intense damage was shared by the 3 billion undead army. The Legion rulers went mad with healing, and the undead army was busy with spells. Finally, Lin Moyu touched the vermilion bird egg. At that moment, a vast life force transmitted from the egg. The flames on the vermilion bird's body erupted, surging into terrifying flames far surpassing a stellar explosion. The terrifying power swept through the starry sky, and Lin Moyu was uncontrollably blown away. Time and space were pierced by the flames. Lin Moyu was engulfed in fire, his undying golden body burning, intertwining with the vermilion bird's flames, making it impossible to distinguish between them. Lin Moyu felt the terrifying power of rules. The rule power within the flames shattered his undying golden body, causing intense pain throughout his body, which was rapidly disintegrating. His soul was also affected, with large holes burned into his soul world, allowing the flames to invade and attack his soul directly. The world tree wanted to intervene, but Lin Moyu stopped it. His soul was covered by a layer of yellow light, provided by the soul gem within the staff of calamity. It was the last line of defense for his soul. The yellow light blocked the vermilion bird's flames, making his soul feel hot but not harmed. However, the yellow light was also weakening and wouldn't last long. Lin Moyu remained incredibly calm, not panicking at all. He took a step back, distancing himself by over 30 billion kilometers. Then, with 2 more steps, he was 100 billion kilometers away from the vermilion bird. His aura then exploded, pushing the Gather Power spell to its limit, attempting to break through to the Supreme Realm. The Gather Power spell exceeded its limit, causing his body to explode on the spot, along with his soul. As his body and soul shattered, the vermilion bird's flames lost their target and extinguished. Half a second later, purple light flashed, and Lin Moyu was reborn. His flesh and soul were recreated out of thin air, everything returning to normal. The river of time. Just after his rebirth, Lin Moyu was momentarily stunned. During his rebirth, his power of time and space hadn't disappeared. In that instant, he seemed to see the shadow of the river of time, as if his rebirth was connected to it. However, the moment was too brief for Lin Moyu to determine if it was an illusion. It had been a long time since he activated his rebirth talent, and he hadn't experienced death in a long time. Lin Moyu felt a bit nostalgic. He remembered the times in the small world when Antares killed him repeatedly, all for the sake of refining his spells. His gaze fell on the vermilion bird 100 billion kilometers away. The vermilion bird was now engulfed in flames, releasing intense heat. The heat in the space was hundreds or thousands of times stronger than before, waking countless cosmic beasts, which fled in panic, unable to stay in their original positions. Within the vermilion bird's scorching flames, Lin Moyu sensed a touch of vitality. The previously dormant flames began to show signs of life. Activating his soul eye, Lin Moyu saw more clearly. The vermilion bird's body was melting, flowing into the vermilion bird egg-like flames. Thump, thump, Heartbeats echoed from the vermilion bird egg, growing stronger and more powerful. The flames became more intense and dangerous. Through his soul eye, Lin Moyu saw a force entwined within the vermilion bird egg, also spreading through the flames. This force wasn't abundant but was extremely powerful. It was this force that allowed the flames to penetrate time and space and nearly burn him to death. World origin, Lin Moyu murmured to himself. Tianlong had mentioned that the vermilion bird was an origin divine beast nurtured by the great world, inherently containing the world's origin. This divine beast was not a cosmic giant beast but far stronger. It could be considered the great world's favored child, naturally powerful. The heartbeat grew stronger, and minutes later, a crack appeared on the eggshell, quickly spreading across the entire egg. With a crisp sound, the egg shattered, and a small bird flew out, letting out a loud cry. The cry pierced the soul like a sharp sword, shaking Lin Moyu's soul world. If it affected him this much, it was even worse for the cosmic beasts. Nearby cosmic beasts fled in terror, running as far as they could. While the origin aura was beneficial, it wasn't worth risking their lives for. Survival was the first instinct of all living beings, including cosmic beasts. Only Lin Moyu stayed, quietly watching the vermilion bird's nirvana. The newly hatched vermilion bird quickly grew, reaching over 1,000,000 kilometers in size, resembling a massive star in the starry sky, majestic and imposing. The flames receded, and the heat in the starry sky rapidly diminished until it disappeared. The reborn vermilion bird retracted all its power, its sharp gaze falling on Lin Moyu. With a flap of its wings, its massive body crossed 100 billion kilometers in an instant, appearing before Lin Moyu. A majestic and terrifying voice echoed, "Why did you disturb me?" Its gaze was dangerous. If Lin Moyu weren't human, he would have been burned to death by now. Lin Moyu could sense the vermilion bird's realm, a true supreme, stronger than most supremes, capable of easily killing him. Lin Moyu looked at the vermilion bird without fear. "The great world is in danger and needs you." The vermilion bird was nurtured by the great world, its primary task being to protect it. During the ancient Great War, the four origin divine beasts fought for the great world until the end. They were the great world's favored children, perhaps its last line of defense. The heavenly sovereigns had their own plans. If things got too dire, they might leave the great world and not necessarily fight to the end. Hearing that the great world was in danger, the vermilion bird's gaze became extremely dangerous, explain clearly. Lin Moyu recounted the Black Blood Great World's plan to trigger the Black Blood calamity. Upon hearing about the Black Blood Great World, the vermilion bird's eyes turned fiercely murderous. "Take me there." The vermilion bird's voice was filled with danger, sending chills down one's spine. Lin Moyu spread his wings of the dead, the laws of space vibrating as he opened a space gate. The space gate wasn't large enough for the vermilion bird to pass through. With a cold snort, the vermilion bird's body rapidly shrank from 1,000,000 kilometers to just 10 meters. With a flap of its wings and a cry, the vermilion bird rushed into the space gate. Chapter 2245, 2245. Chapter 2245. The surprising appearance of the black blood frenzy. The space gate opened repeatedly, spanning the starry sky, as Lin Moyu led the vermilion bird to a location where polluted blood was present. Now, all the polluted blood in the four dark voids had been completely cleared. In the human star region, there were still 2 locations with polluted blood remaining. The vermilion bird looked at the polluted blood with eyes full of disgust. As expected, it's those filthy things. They want to use polluted blood to contaminate the great world. They must be courting death. Without another word, it opened its mouth and spewed flames. At the same time, its body was also engulfed in raging flames. The terrifying fire contained origin power, so even Lin Moyu didn't dare to touch it directly. The flames burned the polluted blood, and the origin power pierced through the boundaries of time and space, destroying the polluted blood in the fire. The origin crystal was exposed, and the vermilion bird's flames became even more intense. Even its eyes shot out 2 beams of fire, like light beams, directed at the origin crystal. Countless black mists emerged from the origin crystal, like boiling black blood vaporizing, quickly being burned away. Under the vermilion bird's attack, the origin crystal gradually shrank, on the verge of being destroyed. Seeing a crack appear on the origin crystal, Lin Moyu suddenly felt uneasy, and a warning echoed in his soul. Not good. As soon as the thought arose, the origin crystal exploded with a bang, and a drop of black blood emerged from it. The black blood rapidly expanded, transforming into a vast ocean, engulfing Lin Moyu and the vermilion bird. The black ocean merged with the starry sky, appearing boundless. Lin Moyu felt his power being eroded. The ocean contained the origin power of the black blood great world, infiltrating every pore and contaminating him. This was the origin power from the black blood great world, so powerful that even the great world's runes would be severely damaged. Its terrifying nature was unimaginable. The only thing that could counter origin power was origin power. The undying golden body, having integrated origin fire, had some resistance but couldn't last long. Lin Moyu's heart stirred, and the undying law emerged, with the power of death enveloping his entire body. The power of death corrodes everything, even black blood. However, facing origin power, the corrosion was slow, and Lin Moyu felt powerless. The power of death couldn't completely counter the erosion of the black blood, but it bought Lin Moyu some time. In front of him was nothing but black blood, and the vermilion bird was nowhere to be seen. Lin Moyu couldn't find it and had to leave first. He tried to use the space law, but in the black ocean, the space law was restricted and couldn't be used. It felt like he had entered another world, losing his connection with the great world. With no other choice, Lin Moyu randomly chose a direction, hoping to break out. In the black ocean, he couldn't last long and would eventually be eroded. Lin Moyu didn't know if the direction he chose was correct. Here, he had lost his sense of direction. He released the undead army, but the skeletons were immediately swallowed by the black ocean, losing contact with him. Methods that had always worked before were now ineffective. Lin Moyu felt deeply uneasy, sensing that this time he might be in big trouble. Is this the black blood frenzy? It's indeed terrifying. No wonder even Supremes died in it. I wonder if the containment talisman array can contain the black blood frenzy. Lin Moyu thought of a method, unsure if it would work. With no other options, he had to try every possibility. The containment talisman array flew out and activated, beginning to absorb the black blood. With a bang, the containment talisman array exploded on the spot, unable to withstand the black ocean. The containment talisman array doesn't work either. Lin Moyu sighed inwardly. This result wasn't unexpected. He thought of the ancient containment talisman, which might have a slim chance. With no other options, Lin Moyu began drawing the ancient containment talisman. At that moment, a red light appeared before him, with flames flickering. He felt like he had stepped on something. Sensing a familiar aura, Lin Moyu was overjoyed. In the flames, the vermilion bird flew out with a sharp cry, carrying Lin Moyu on its back and breaking through the ocean. Light returned to his vision, and familiar starlight entered his eyes. Lin Moyu finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you. Lin Moyu thanked the vermilion bird. Finally breaking out, he was fortunate to have the vermilion bird, otherwise, he would have been in danger. The vermilion bird didn't respond. After breaking out of the black ocean, its eyes became even sharper. The black blood frenzy, they really triggered the black blood frenzy again. Fortunately, you destroyed several origin crystals, so this black blood frenzy isn't very powerful. Lin Moyu also observed the black ocean spreading across the starry sky, seemingly endless. Sensing it, he estimated it spanned several light years. This was an incredibly vast black ocean. A small drop of black blood could transform into such an ocean, which was unimaginable. The power of origin was so strong that those who hadn't encountered it couldn't imagine it. Lin Moyu asked, "What should we do now?" The vermilion bird, though disgusted, remained rational and said in a low voice, "Don't rush, wait." Wait for what? Lin Moyu soon understood what they were waiting for. Before long, 5 streams of origin power flew in from the distant starry sky, crossing space and injecting into the ocean. This scene was very familiar, just like when the Black Blood Great World summoned the River of Time. Without Lin Moyu, there should have been 10 origin crystals, far more powerful than now. Moreover, the activation area wouldn't be here, it should be in some dark void, closer to the human race and more threatening. After the 5 streams of origin power were injected into the ocean, it rapidly expanded, becoming even larger. The entire area grew from several light years to over 100 light years. The black ocean began to move, rolling towards the human star region at high speed. It wouldn't take long to reach the human star region. The vermilion bird said, "Fortunately, it's still far from the human race. We still have time. To destroy the black blood frenzy, we must first destroy its origin. Now that the origins have surfaced, open the space gate, and let's quickly find them and destroy them one by one before dealing with the black blood frenzy." Lin Moyu said, "I have a way to accurately locate them." The vermilion bird's eyes lit up, That's even better. Hurry up. The bone hell appeared, blocking the origin power of the black blood great world. The origin power was very strong, almost instantly piercing through the bone hell, but Lin Moyu completed the positioning. Following the method, the locations of the polluted blood in the 4 battlegrounds were quickly determined. Found them all, Lin Moyu said, opening the space gate and sending the vermilion bird through. The space gate opened repeatedly, spanning hundreds of thousands of light years. The first stop was the polluted blood at the other end of the human star region. Without a word, the vermilion bird spewed flames, beginning to destroy the origin crystal of the black blood great world. Lin Moyu watched, murmuring, first summon ancient powerhouses from the river of time to attack the human race. Then trigger the black blood frenzy to completely engulf the human star region and contaminate the great world. Turning the great world into a new black blood great world, what a plan. Lin Moyu had guessed the entire plan of the black blood great world, and it seemed accurate. Now, thanks to him, the black blood great world's plan was disrupted, forcing them to trigger the black blood frenzy prematurely. Not only did the powerhouses summoned from the river of time fail to damage the human race, but even the power of the black blood frenzy was greatly reduced. So far, the human race hadn't suffered any harm, and the black blood great world's plan, prepared for countless years, was mostly ruined. The vermilion bird was spewing flames madly, and the origin crystal was resisting but to no avail. Suddenly, Lin Moyu looked into the distance, seeing several red lines shooting towards them. The people of the black blood great world had arrived. Chapter 2246, 2246. Chapter 2246. Bone Hell, devouring the origin, they finally couldn't hold back. Lin Moyu coldly looked at the 3 people who came from the black blood great world, all of them Saint Lords. As a terrifying world that could once rival the great world, even though defeated, the number of Saint Lords wouldn't be too few. At least not fewer than the demon race. Over 1,000,000 years, the black blood great world had also been recovering, and with the origin in their hands, it was normal for them to produce a few Saint Lords. Previously, when their plans were disrupted and origin crystals destroyed, they never took action. Now they finally couldn't hold back anymore. It's good that they came. Lin Moyu smiled coldly. The hidden vermin finally surfaced. He wasn't afraid of these kinds of creatures coming, he was only afraid they wouldn't show up. Once they appeared, there was nothing to fear. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed slightly. From the direction they flew in, he could analyze a lot of information. It should be the dark void between the Qinglong star region and the Xuanwu star region. As expected, they were in the dark void. It seems I didn't search carefully enough. After dealing with the origin crystals, I'll search more thoroughly. The remnants of the black blood great world certainly won't be in just one place. The 4 battlegrounds can't be overlooked either. There's still a lot to do. Lin Moyu felt that to completely clear out this trash would still take quite some time. But it didn't matter. He still had time. The 100 Races War ended earlier than expected, giving him more time to work with. The vermilion bird also noticed the people from the black blood great world and turned its head to look. Lin Moyu said to the vermilion bird, "I'll handle them." The vermilion bird seemed to trust Lin Moyu very much and turned its head back, no longer paying attention. It was in the middle of clearing away the polluted blood, which was a contest of origin powers, and couldn't spare attention for now. Lin Moyu lightly tapped his finger, and undying flames exploded in space, with 25 skeleton thrones collectively appearing. A full 25 skeleton kings, each emitting the aura of a Saint Lord, looking incredibly powerful. 3 versus 25, not a fair distribution. Lin Moyu muttered softly, too lazy to manage it himself, letting the skeleton kings allocate themselves. The auras of the 3 Saint Lords from the black blood great world fluctuated violently. They seemed to be in shock. They didn't stop, thin blood swords appearing in their hands as the 3 simultaneously drew closer to each other. Killing intent spread, and the 3 fused into one, their aura rising sharply. One of the abilities of the black blood great world's powerhouses was to fuse with each other. After the 3 fused into one, their power surged, instantly transforming into a half-step supreme. A half-step supreme indeed had the power to fight against 25 skeleton kings at the Saint Lord level. But that was just the power to fight. The skeleton kings weren't ordinary Saint Lords. If killed, Lin Moyu could summon them again at any time. At this moment, a origin crystal appeared in the black-robed person's hand, which they directly put into their mouth. Origin power flowed through their body, their aura surging again, almost reaching the limit of half-step supreme. At the same time, due to the enhancement of origin power, their attacks would also increase greatly. Lin Moyu coldly laughed, origin power. I have that too. He snapped his fingers, and an aura of origin immediately spread over the skeleton kings. Origin spell. Strengthen troops. The origin spell also contained origin power, pure and powerful. The damage caused by the skeleton kings instantly increased tenfold, but this was just the beginning. Colorful water, belief power, Lin Moyu spared no cost. Facing people from the Black Blood Great World, there was no room for holding back. As the distance shortened to 10 million kilometers, the skeleton kings also raised their swords at this moment. Spell. God Slayer. Sword light flashed, and 25 attacks simultaneously landed on the opponent. The damage was amplified tenfold, plus the enhancement from colorful water and belief power. The actual damage increased by who knows how many times. Anyway, Lin Moyu felt that even a true half-step supreme couldn't withstand this sword strike. The half-step supreme let out a miserable scream as sword light exploded on their body, nearly blasting it to pieces. At the same time, the bone law erupted, countless attacks simultaneously affecting their soul, while their body exploded with dense wounds. The fusion shattered, and the three separated again, each severely injured with mutilated bodies, revealing corpse-like flesh. Too weak. Lin Moyu shook his head lightly. After reaching the other shore realm, even half-step supremes were no longer his match. This is what it means to be invincible within one's realm. As long as he entered the other shore realm, there were no opponents within the other shore realm. Whether Saint Lord or half-step supreme, the result was the same. How can you be so strong? This is impossible. Even the top geniuses in the great world couldn't be this strong. The great world couldn't possibly produce a genius like you. The three Saint Lords cried out in disbelief. They were severely injured, with almost no strength to fight back. Lin Moyu didn't bother to explain to them, only coldly saying, I will find all of you and kill you clean, not leaving a single one. The three Saint Lords looked at each other, seeming to have made some decision. Although they were injured, the killing intent on their bodies grew even stronger. Someone like Lin Moyu couldn't be allowed to live. The skeleton kings had already killed their way to the front, bone swords slashing through space, about to cut them into pieces. The three roared simultaneously, beginning to fuse again. Origin power erupted violently, forcibly pushing back the skeleton kings. The three disappeared, replaced by a slender sword over 10,000 meters long. Fresh blood flowed on the sword, with bloodlines writhing and crawling like snakes. On the sword hilt, there was also an origin crystal. This origin crystal was much smaller than the one the vermilion bird was dealing with, only about 1% of its size, like a fragment. Its presence greatly enhanced the power of the slender sword. The slender sword moved like lightning towards Lin Moyu, its speed surpassing spatial limitations, crossing billions of miles in an instant, far exceeding the speed of light. Lin Moyu felt himself locked on, with no way to dodge. He remained extremely calm, not surprised. How could the people of the Black Blood Great World not have a few secret techniques to threaten the Great World? The bone hell appeared, blocking in front of Lin Moyu. The slender sword pierced into the bone hell, instantly killing countless hell fiends. But more hell fiends pounced out, grabbing the slender sword without regard for their lives, biting down. For hell fiends, there was nothing they couldn't eat. No matter what it was, they could take a bite. If it weren't for the space-time power being too strange, the bone hell could even eat the polluted blood and origin crystals for you. The slender sword struggled, erupting with origin power, shooting out countless sword energies. In the blink of an eye, millions of hell fiends were killed. But in the next second, even more hell fiends pounced on it, firmly trapping the slender sword. Sharp teeth bit down, and cracks appeared on the slender sword. The hellfire river surged with huge waves, turning into giant hands that slapped down, working together with the hell fiends to smash the slender sword into the hellfire river. The slender sword struggled frantically in the hellfire river, but no matter how it struggled, it was useless. After advancing to the other shore realm, the bone hell had become extremely powerful and terrifying. Even Saint Lords would find it difficult to escape once inside. Now the three Saint Lords from the Black Blood Great World, already severely injured and weakened after transforming into a sword, similarly couldn't escape. Even with the aid of origin power, the result was the same. The hell fiends were inexhaustible when killed, and the power of the hellfire river was endless. After struggling for a long time, the slender sword finally collapsed. The three Saint Lords transformed back, then were devoured to death. Lin Moyu left 3 pieces of flesh to replenish his previous consumption. That small origin crystal exploded in the Hellfire River, spreading countless black blood. The power of the black blood turned part of the Hellfire River black. But gradually, the power of the Hellfire River devoured it, and the Hellfire River returned to normal. Lin Moyu carefully sensed, confirming that the power of the Black Blood Great World had been completely devoured. After devouring the 3 Saint Lords and a bit of origin power, the aura of the Bone Hell surged greatly. The effect was even better than devouring billions of living beings and thousands of star systems. The Bone Hell can even devour origin power. If it weren't for the space-time power, with just the Bone Hell alone, it could have thwarted the Black Blood Great World's plot. Chapter 2247, 2247. Chapter 2247. Ants eating an elephant. After Lin Moyu dealt with the Saint Lords from the Black Blood Great World, the battle between the Vermilion Bird and the polluted blood also reached its conclusion. Under the repeated roasting of the Vermilion Bird's flames, cracks appeared all over the origin crystal, finally reaching its limit and shattering with a boom. With one less source of origin power, the Black Blood frenzy would become even weaker. At this moment, both the Vermilion Bird and Lin Moyu looked up. After they destroyed this origin crystal, the other 4 origin crystals seemed to become more violent. The originally calm origin power became more intense, injecting into the Black Blood frenzy at an even faster speed. The Vermilion Bird said, "We need to speed up." Lin Moyu nodded and immediately opened a space gate. The 2 quickly headed to the next location, the Azure Dragon Battleground. With the marker, Lin Moyu could accurately locate the targets, finding them one by one without fail. The supply of origin power was becoming faster and faster, also indicating that the Black Blood frenzy would become more and more intense. The Vermilion Bird grew increasingly anxious. The 2 moved extremely quickly, trying to resolve the polluted blood and destroy the origin crystals as fast as possible. Azure Dragon Battleground, Black Tortoise Battleground, White Tiger Battleground. Lin Moyu could sense that the aura on the Vermilion Bird's body was weakening. Its power was not infinite and would eventually be exhausted. They traveled back and forth across various battlegrounds, finally destroying all 4 origin crystals. By the time they reached the last one, less than half of the power remained in the origin crystal. The Vermilion Bird said in a low voice, "Next we need to deal with the Black Blood frenzy." Fortunately, we destroyed the origin crystals, so the destructive power of the Black Blood frenzy is only 1/3 of what it would have been. It had experienced the Black Blood frenzy before, so its estimate shouldn't be wrong. This 1/3 referred to if all 10 origin crystals had been activated together, not compared to ancient times. Lin Moyu asked, "Was the Black Blood frenzy in ancient times very powerful?" The Vermilion Bird recalled with some reminiscence, "Very powerful. Back then, the Black Blood frenzy covered an area of about 10,000 light-years. Wherever it went, nothing could grow. Even we and the heavenly sovereigns were powerless to stop the Black Blood frenzy. In the end, it was the Great World that used its origin power to repel the Black Blood frenzy. A world's origin power isn't something that can be used casually. There's a price to pay. When the origins collided, the Great World's origin won, but it was a Pyrrhic victory. We underestimated the power of the Black Blood Great World's origin. Its existence was extraordinary. The Great World's origin was injured, damaging its foundation, which was difficult to repair. We are origin divine beasts nurtured by the Great World. At that time, to repair the Great World, we contributed most of our power and fell into slumber together. Although we all originate from the Great World, the power nurtured in each of us is different. Among us, I am the most special, possessing the ability of nirvana." As they spoke, the 2 returned to where the Black Blood frenzy had erupted. The range of the Black Blood frenzy had already expanded to 500 light-years and was rolling towards the human race's star region. It was like a giant beast in the dark night, opening its huge mouth, leaving nothing in its wake. The Vermilion Bird continued, "Fortunately, this Black Blood frenzy isn't very powerful. I'll find a way to destroy it. I hope I can do it. I should be able to do it." The Vermilion Bird's power was almost depleted. Explaining these things was like giving its last words. If the Great World were still intact, it wouldn't die at all. The power of the Great World could revive it in minutes. But now the Great World was in a different situation. If the Vermilion Bird died, it couldn't be revived before the Great World recovered. Just as the Vermilion Bird was about to take action, Lin Moyu stopped it. "There's still time. Let me try first. If I fail, you can take over." The vermilion bird didn't agree with Lin Moyu's words, protecting the great world is my responsibility. This should be done by me. Lin Moyu said, as a member of the human race, also part of the great world, I have a share in this matter too. Moreover, you have other things to do. The vermilion bird was slightly stunned, not understanding what Lin Moyu meant. Lin Moyu smiled, after we resolve the black blood frenzy, I'll tell you. Saying this, Lin Moyu flew towards the black blood frenzy. Previously when trapped inside, he was helpless. Now that he had escaped, he had enough time to deal with it. At the speed of the black blood frenzy, it would take at least 10 years to reach the star region where the human race was located. 10 years was more than enough time. The bone hell appeared, attaching itself to the black blood frenzy. The bone hell, only 0.1 light years in size, looked pitifully small in front of the black blood frenzy, like an ant under an elephant's foot. Using the Hell Fiend's ability to devour anything, Lin Moyu prepared to stage a scene of an ant biting an elephant to death. Let's begin. Eat to your heart's content, eat as much as you can, eat your fill this time. As his thoughts surged, the bone hell began to seep into the black blood frenzy. The black blood frenzy crashed into the bone hell like huge waves, trying to completely extinguish the hellfire. The hell fiends roared madly as they rushed out, beginning to devour the incoming black blood frenzy. They bit and devoured one mouthful after another, continuously and at an astonishing speed. The hellfire river was also boiling, sending out countless flames to burn the black blood. Above the bone hell, 10 suns hung in the sky, spewing countless flames, joining with the hellfire river to burn the black blood. A battle between an ant and an elephant officially began. Although the bone hell looked like an ant, it had extremely sharp teeth, biting holes in the elephant's body. It stood firm against the erosion of the black blood frenzy, continuously eating away at it. Besides the hellfire and hell fiends, what surprised Lin Moyu most was actually the spider lily. Since the spider lily appeared, apart from being beautiful, it hadn't had any other use. Facts proved that in the bone hell, nothing was useless. The spider lily bloomed with a gray-blue light, cold and in stark contrast to the hellfire. The black blood touched by this light would instantly lose most of its power, greatly weakening its erosion of the bone hell. Devouring, burning, weakening, the three worked together to deal with the black blood frenzy. A gap appeared on the black blood frenzy, like a wound on an elephant's body, bitten out by an inconspicuous ant. The vermilion bird was stunned on the spot, murmuring, "It really works." "How did you do it?" Lin Moyu said, "This is my spell. It's quite magical." The vermilion bird exclaimed, "So that's how it is." There was still confusion in its eyes, unable to understand. However, the confusion wasn't important. What mattered most was being able to resolve the black blood frenzy. Lin Moyu suddenly asked, "Do you know about the mysterious master?" The vermilion bird shook its head. "We all know of him, but we don't know his true identity. We only know that he's very powerful. Even the heavenly sovereigns respect him greatly and follow his instructions. We four origin divine beasts have never actually met him, so we don't know his true identity." Lin Moyu showed some disappointment, not expecting that even the vermilion bird didn't know the identity of the mysterious master. He couldn't help but murmur, "He really is very mysterious." Chapter 2248, 2248. Chapter 2248. Great World, Heavenly Sovereign, Boundary. See, the mysterious master still maintains his mystery, but fortunately he stands on the side of the Great World, and everything he does is for the Great World. Arrangements made from 1,000,000 years ago seem to have never missed their mark. Unfortunately, even the vermilion bird doesn't know his true identity. Lin Moyu controlled the bone hell, steadily and continuously devouring the black blood frenzy. The black blood frenzy was frantically resisting, but no matter how it resisted, it was useless. The elephant was too big and couldn't get rid of the ant that had already burrowed into its body. The bone hell was nibbling away at the black blood frenzy bit by bit, while digesting the origin power of the black blood great world. Lin Moyu could clearly feel that the bone hell was getting stronger, and its range was gradually expanding. The bone hell could indeed devour all kinds of powers, truly accepting all comers. It could even devour powers that the great world couldn't. In 10 years' time, it would be enough for the bone hell to completely devour the black blood frenzy, leaving nothing behind. The black blood great world's plan had completely failed, their 1,000,000 years of preparation destroyed in an instant. The vermilion bird also completely relaxed, its aura receding, its body shrinking to only 10 meters in size, chatting with Lin Moyu. At this moment, it had already regarded Lin Moyu as a comrade in arms. After relaxing, the vermilion bird showed some fatigue. What do you think will happen next? Lin Moyu said, in another 1,000 years or so, the Great World will face another crisis. There's a world that's going to collide with the Great World. The vermilion bird's feathers suddenly stood on end, and the flames that had just extinguished rose again. What did you say? It was clearly very nervous. It knew very well what the current situation of the Great World was. If it encountered another world, the Great World would be finished. Lin Moyu comforted it, don't be nervous. Encountering another world is both a crisis and an opportunity. The Great World is currently on the verge of collapse. Without another world, it would collapse in a few years anyway. If we can absorb the origin of another world before that happens, perhaps the Great World can regain its vitality. The vermilion bird closed its eyes and remained silent for a few seconds before speaking. What you say makes some sense. The origin of the Great World has been severely damaged and urgently needs the power of another world's origin to repair it. The origin of the Black Blood Great World cannot be absorbed and utilized. If we could obtain the origin of another world at this time, there might still be a chance. The vermilion bird is an origin divine beast nurtured by the Great World and has an extremely close connection with it. It can sense the true state of the Great World. The encounter between the Great World and the Battle Realm is both dangerous and hopeful for the Great World. The vermilion bird suddenly asked, have you been to the Boundary Sea? Lin Moyu nodded, I had the fortune to go there once. Vermilion bird, tell me about the appearance of that world, how big it is, and most importantly, how much of it has sunk into the Boundary Sea. Hearing the vermilion bird's question, Lin Moyu found it strange. The vermilion bird, like the Red Star Heavenly Sovereign, was very concerned about how much of the Battle Realm had sunk into the Boundary Sea. It seems this point is very important. Lin Moyu said, that world is called the Battle Realm. It's about 1/100th the size of the Great World, and about 1/3 of it has sunk into the Boundary Sea. Upon hearing this, the vermilion bird let out a sigh of relief. It's good that it's only 1/3. They probably don't have a heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu was puzzled. Is there a connection between having a heavenly sovereign and how much of the world has sunk into the Boundary Sea? The vermilion bird let out a light cry. That's right. All things are divided into real and illusory. Worlds are like this, and so is the Boundary Sea. To become a heavenly sovereign, one must first understand the real and illusory, yin and yang, but this alone is not enough. One also needs the support of the world. A heavenly sovereign needs a large amount of origin power, and it must be origin power that combines the real and illusory. If the world is not strong enough, it can't provide support, so naturally, a heavenly sovereign can't appear. The size of the world and how much of it has sunk into the Boundary Sea can both reflect whether the world is strong or not. Especially the degree of sinking into the Boundary Sea, which is extremely important. At this point, a thoughtful look appeared in the vermilion bird's eyes, as if recalling something. After a moment, it continued, as far as I know, only when half of a world has sunk into the Boundary Sea does that world have enough origin power to produce a heavenly sovereign. If its size is only 1/100th of the Great World, even if half of it sinks into the Boundary Sea, it will only produce one heavenly sovereign, and not a very powerful one at that. The vermilion bird explained in detail to Lin Moyu the relationship between worlds and the Boundary Sea. Whether a heavenly sovereign can be born is related to the degree to which the world has sunk into the Boundary Sea. At least half of the world must sink into the Boundary Sea for the world to produce a heavenly sovereign. And the number and strength of heavenly sovereigns are related to the size of the world. No wonder the vermilion bird and the Red Star Heavenly Sovereign insisted that the Battle Realm had not produced a heavenly sovereign. Lin Moyu thought of his own Great World. The Great World is extremely vast, hundreds of times larger than the Battle Realm, and half of it has sunk into the Boundary Sea. This also proves that the Great World once produced many heavenly sovereigns, and these heavenly sovereigns were all extremely powerful. Unfortunately, those heavenly sovereigns are all gone now. Please vote. Lin Moyu pondered. So, to produce a Tao sovereign, even more of the world would need to sink into the Boundary Sea. Following this line of reasoning, it indeed seemed to be the case. Unfortunately, Lin Moyu's idea was incorrect and was immediately refuted by the vermilion bird. No, Tao sovereigns are different. Lin Moyu looked up at the vermilion bird, his thirst for knowledge very strong. The vermilion bird shook its head. I once heard a heavenly sovereign say that Tao sovereigns are different, they require opportunity. What kind of opportunity, no one knows. The person who came closest to becoming a Tao sovereign was the mysterious master you mentioned. But he was too mysterious. I don't even know his identity, I only know he was very strong. Lin Moyu understood. No wonder even a world as strong as the Great World hadn't produced a Tao sovereign. It turns out it requires opportunity. Opportunity. What kind of opportunity is needed? Lin Moyu thought to himself, but looking back, he felt that such matters were too distant for him. He had just recently become an other shore cultivator, and now he was considering matters of heavenly sovereigns and Tao sovereigns. It seemed a bit laughable. For now, the Black Blood Great World was still around, the battle realm was about to arrive, and the Great World was on the brink of destruction. Getting through these few things and allowing the Great World to recover should be the priority before considering other matters. Lin Moyu stopped thinking further and continued to control the Bone Hell to devour the Black Blood Frenzy. The Bone Hell continuously devoured and refined the Black Blood Origin power. This Black Blood Origin power, which even the Great World found difficult to devour, could actually be refined by the Bone Hell. This made Lin Moyu increasingly feel the wonder of the Bone Hell. It could devour the Black Blood Origin power that even the Great World couldn't absorb and refine. In the distant human race star region, the Talisman Heavenly Sovereign detected the Black Blood Frenzy. He rushed into the central hall in a panic, informing the other Heavenly Sovereigns of this matter. When the Heavenly Sovereigns heard about the Black Blood Frenzy, they all changed color simultaneously. That was the Black Blood Great World's ultimate killing technique, difficult to resist. Just as they were getting nervous, a flying sword talisman suddenly flew into the Talisman Heavenly Sovereign's hand. After reading the contents of the flying sword talisman, the Talisman Heavenly Sovereign immediately relaxed. The Black Blood Frenzy has been resolved by young friend Lin. Young friend Lin actually awakened the Vermilion Bird Divine Beast in the Vermilion Bird battlefield. As soon as he said this, everyone was stunned. The Sky Heavenly Sovereign laughed heartily, as expected of young friend Lin, even able to awaken the Vermilion Bird. Too powerful. The How Heavenly Sovereign smiled and said, the Black Blood Great World scheme has failed. This round, we have won. Chapter 2249, 2249. Chapter 2249. It's really difficult in the blink of an eye. 6 years had passed, and the Black Blood Frenzy was almost completely gone. After devouring and absorbing a large amount of the Black Blood Frenzy, the Bone Hell had grown significantly, now spanning 0.2 light years. The Hellfire River had become wider, and the spider lilies had become more vibrant. The 10 suns in the sky remained unchanged, but the flames they emitted had become more intense. Although the number of hell fiends hadn't increased and still numbered in the billions, their power had increased, and their auras had become stronger. They were like bottomless pits, never getting full no matter how much they ate. At this moment, the Vermilion Bird was completely at ease, its aura recovering, and the origin power it had previously consumed had partially returned. Finally, in the 7th year of the Black Blood Frenzy, the Bone Hell had completely devoured it, leaving nothing behind. Thus, the Black Blood Great World's million-year plan was declared bankrupt. The next task became simple: follow the direction from which the Black Blood Great World Saint Lords had come and search accordingly. Based on the direction, the hidden location of the Black Blood Great World should be in the dark void between the Azure Dragon and Black Tortoise Star regions, but other places couldn't be ruled out. In the end, all 4 dark voids and the 4 battlegrounds needed to be swept clean. This task was time-consuming and labor-intensive but necessary. The Black Blood Great World had to be completely eradicated, leaving no trace. The Vermilion Bird said softly, "It would be great if we could awaken the White Tiger." "Why?" Lin Moyu asked. The Vermilion Bird replied, "The White Tiger possesses a spell called Bloodline Tracking. With this spell, we can track the Black Blood Great World no matter where they hide." Such a spell existed. Lin Moyu had once revived people from the Black Blood Great World. From the revived individuals, he learned that the Black Blood Great World constantly changed locations. Every so often, their position would change. Moreover, those revived individuals didn't know about the Black Blood Frenzy, indicating that information within the Black Blood Great World was tightly controlled. Each person only knew their own task and didn't know what others were doing. This time, Lin Moyu had roughly pinpointed the area but couldn't guarantee finding them. If they had the White Tiger's spell, it would save a lot of trouble. While opening a space gate and flying towards the dark void, Lin Moyu asked, "How can we awaken the White Tiger?" The Vermilion Bird replied, "It's difficult. The White Tiger is different from me, it doesn't have the ability of Nirvana. There are only two ways to awaken it. One is for the great world to awaken it. The second way is to attack it. As long as the attack is strong enough, it might awaken. Attack it. Lin Moyu felt that didn't seem too difficult. The vermilion bird shook its head. It's very difficult to attack the white tiger. You'll understand when you see it. The space gate opened repeatedly, and the two crossed star regions at the fastest speed, entering the dark void between the azure dragon and black tortoise star regions. Upon entering the dark void, the vermilion bird's eyes showed disgust. The power of the black blood great world is revolting. Now they knew that the dark void was the residue of the black blood frenzy, containing the origin power of the black blood great world. It was a scar left by the black blood great world in the great world. Lin Moyu asked, is there a way to clean it up? The vermilion bird said, the black tortoise can do it. Its origin water can purify everything, including the dark void. We four origin divine beasts each have different abilities and can accomplish different tasks. Lin Moyu was curious. Actually, I'm very curious. Back then, there were many heavenly sovereigns and countless supremes in the great world. Why did it need to nurture you? The vermilion bird replied, that's because we possess different origins and can accomplish many things that even heavenly sovereigns can't. For example, my flames can burn everything. The white tiger's bloodline tracking can track enemies through their bloodline, leaving them nowhere to hide. The black tortoise's purification power can cleanse everything. And the azure dragon is the strongest in combat among us four. At its peak, it could rival a heavenly sovereign. The four origin divine beasts each had their strengths and, to a certain extent, represented the great world. Unlike heavenly sovereigns, they would never betray and would live and die with the great world. Compared to heavenly sovereigns, they were much more loyal and reliable. In the dark void, Lin Moyu searched for many days but found nothing. It was unclear whether the black blood great world had already fled or if their hiding methods were too good to be discovered. The vermilion bird said, they should have fled. I can sense traces of black blood left here. Lin Moyu was somewhat helpless. It seems we must rely on the white tiger's bloodline tracking spell. Let's go. We'll try to awaken the white tiger. He said this while opening another space gate, preparing to head to the white tiger battleground. The vermilion bird reminded, don't get your hopes up too high. In the core area of the white tiger battleground, a space gate appeared, and the vermilion bird flew out with a cry, followed closely by Lin Moyu. A gust of wind blew, almost blowing Lin Moyu away. Barely managing to stand firm, Lin Moyu exclaimed, what a strong wind. The vermilion bird said, we're still far away. It will get stronger. The two flew towards the center of the battleground, and the wind grew stronger and more violent. Lin Moyu thought of a race he had once exterminated, called the White Tiger Clan. This white tiger was different from that one, vastly different, with no relation between the two. After traveling billions of kilometers, Lin Moyu finally saw the white tiger divine beast. Its body was over 1,000,000 kilometers long, lying in the starry sky, emitting a pure white light. The origin aura on its body was even more intense than that of the vermilion bird, indicating its combat power was above the vermilion bird's. Gusts of wind emanated from the white tiger, sweeping across the starry sky, omnipresent. Even billions of kilometers away, Lin Moyu could barely stand. He activated his undying golden body, barely resisting the wind. The wind had no special attributes, it was just extremely strong, with immense power and incredible speed. The wind speed had surpassed the speed of light, an almost unimaginable phenomenon. The sheer force of the wind was terrifying. If a divine sovereign stood here, they would be torn to pieces by the wind, leaving no bones behind. Unlike the area around the vermilion bird, where cosmic beasts absorbed the origin aura, the wind here left nothing alive. As they approached within tens of millions of kilometers, still 50 million kilometers away from the white tiger, Lin Moyu felt he had reached his limit. If he got any closer, he would die. The vermilion bird said, you can try attacking it. Lin Moyu summoned the skeleton general and unleashed sword energy. The sword energy was dispersed by the wind before it could travel 10,000 kilometers, falling far short. Lin Moyu tried to lock onto the white tiger, but it was impossible, his soul power couldn't extend that far. The wind not only dispersed spells but could also scatter souls. Unable to lock onto the white tiger, the skeleton king's god-slayer sword would be useless, and his corpse explosion wouldn't work either. 50 million kilometers, a distance he couldn't cross. Lin Moyu tried using the space law but found that the space here, though seemingly intact, was actually riddled with holes and fragments, making it impossible to traverse. The vermilion bird said, "Now you see, it's very difficult to approach the white tiger." Lin Moyu agreed, it was indeed very difficult. His first thought was to have Lin Moxuan come and use her one sword to part the sea to strike the white tiger. Whether it would work or not was uncertain. The vermilion bird continued, "The wind around the white tiger contains origin power and can blow away anything. Whether it's laws, rules, or treasures, they will all be blown to pieces. Especially within 10 million kilometers of the white tiger, where the wind is the fiercest. That's the most difficult area. Around the white tiger, besides the fierce wind, there were countless tornadoes swirling, making it the most challenging place. As the vermilion bird had said, Lin Moyu felt helpless. It was really difficult." Chapter 2250, 2250. Chapter 2250. Perverted techniques, perverted people. Lin Moyu tried various methods, but he couldn't even fly past 10 million kilometers, let alone get close to the white tiger. He even tried the ancient containment talisman, which could indeed absorb a large amount of fierce wind, but it would quickly be shattered by the gales. According to the vermilion bird, the dense whirlwinds within 10 million kilometers of the white tiger were the most difficult area. Lin Moyu felt like giving up, thinking that even if Lin Moxuan came, her sword intent might struggle to break through. Even if she could barely break through, how much attack power would be left? As Lin Moyu pondered, he suddenly thought of a possibility. He looked at the vermilion bird and asked, "Can you get through?" The vermilion bird said, "Barely, but once I get there, I can only protect myself and won't be able to launch an attack. An attack that's not strong enough won't be able to awaken the white tiger." Lin Moyu's eyes lit up, "As long as you can get through, that's fine. You don't need to attack, just being able to get there is enough." Lin Moyu began drawing talismans, his full power erupting to form a barrier, temporarily blocking the fierce winds so as not to interfere with his talisman drawing. After about 10 minutes, an ancient talisman appeared before him. The ancient containment talisman was much more powerful than the containment talisman array. Lin Moyu touched the ancient containment talisman with his finger, communicating with the vast space within, and placed the bone hell inside. To be safe, Lin Moyu also summoned all 25 skeleton kings and put them inside as well. The vermilion bird watched Lin Moyu curiously, not knowing what he was planning. After finishing, Lin Moyu handed the ancient containment talisman to the vermilion bird. "Please take this over there for me, as close as possible." "All right, I'll try." The vermilion bird opened its mouth and bit onto the ancient containment talisman. Its whole body erupted in flames, origin power surging as it flew towards the white tiger. Amidst the howling gales, a giant vermilion bird wreathed in flames broke through obstacles, braving the fierce winds as it traversed space towards the white tiger. Origin powers constantly collided and fought against each other as the vermilion bird sped through the fierce winds, getting closer and closer to the white tiger. The vermilion bird flew very steadily. The fierce winds were intense but didn't seem to affect it much. Lin Moyu knew this was the difference in strength. The vermilion bird possessed supreme-level combat power, and with the boost from origin power, its combat ability was even stronger than ordinary supremes. Although Lin Moyu had many techniques, in terms of raw power, he was far inferior to the vermilion bird. In the end, it all came down to realm being insufficient. As the vermilion bird entered the most difficult area, countless whirlwinds filled this region. The vermilion bird let out a sharp cry, its flames rolling as numerous whirlwinds were incinerated. But in the next second, even more whirlwinds pounced over. The vermilion bird's speed clearly slowed down here. Lin Moyu's gaze also became sharp at this moment. Whether it would succeed depended on now. The vermilion bird struggled forward, passing through whirlwinds until it could advance no further. It had finally reached its limit, less than 10,000 kilometers away from the white tiger. The last 10,000 kilometers were like an impassable chasm. Even the vermilion bird found it difficult to get any closer. After several attempts, the vermilion bird determined it couldn't get any closer. Its wings suddenly flapped violently, sending out intense flames that forcefully carved out a path straight to the white tiger. It spat out the ancient containment talisman from its mouth, which flew along the path it had blasted open towards the white tiger. The ancient containment talisman turned into a stream of light, violently crashing into the white tiger's body. The white tiger's body was also covered in fierce winds. The ancient containment talisman instantly exploded upon impact. The skeleton kings flew out from the ancient containment talisman, immediately launching a fierce attack on the white tiger. The bone hell also expanded at the same time, trying to envelop the white tiger. Unfortunately, as soon as the skeleton kings tried to act, they were blown about by the fierce winds, completely unable to swing their swords. In less than half a second, the skeleton kings had already been blown to pieces. Luckily, the bone hell successfully expanded and enveloped the white tiger. Although it was instantly shredded by the fierce winds on the white tiger's body, it was enough for Lin Moyu. The marking was complete, and Lin Moyu successfully locked onto the white tiger. The vermilion bird flew back, its aura noticeably weaker than when it set out, clearly having consumed a large amount of power. The vermilion bird asked, "How did it go?" Lin Moyu smiled, "Watch my performance." His aura surged, temporarily blocking the fierce winds as he took out several corpse fragments. He had used up all the Saint Lord level corpses before, but after killing 3 Saint Lords from the Black Blood Great World, he had replenished some. He still had quite a few other Shore Realm corpses left. If other Shore Realm corpses were enough to awaken the White Tiger, there would be no need to use Saint Lord level corpse fragments, better to save them if possible. White Star level technique, corpse explosion. With a thunderous boom, massive explosive waves erupted on the White Tiger's body. He didn't need to worry about his attacks harming the White Tiger. The White Tiger's combat power was stronger than ordinary Supremes. As an origin divine beast, its defense was incredibly formidable. How could it be easily injured? The vermilion bird stared wide-eyed. "Is this your technique?" Lin Moyu nodded. "Yes, it's my technique." As he spoke, his hands didn't stop, triggering 2 more explosions in succession. Explosions rang out continuously, destroying part of the fierce winds. The power was quite impressive. Lin Moyu concentrated the explosions on one point, as this was the only way to maximize their effect. The vermilion bird said, "Your technique is very powerful, ignoring space and time. If I'm not mistaken, you used this technique to destroy the first origin crystal." Lin Moyu frankly admitted, "Yes, it was this technique." The vermilion bird seemed somewhat puzzled, "But your technique shouldn't have enough power to destroy an origin crystal." Lin Moyu explained, "The power of this technique depends on the strength of the corpse. The stronger the corpse, the more powerful the technique. To destroy the origin crystal before, I used 6 Saint Lord level corpses." "I see." The vermilion bird had a look of sudden realization. Then its eyes widened. "According to what you're saying, if you had a heavenly sovereign corpse, could you blow up a heavenly sovereign?" Quote. Lin Moyu nodded, "Indeed, I could." Only then did the vermilion bird truly realize how perverted this technique was. Not only did it ignore time and space, but as long as there was a strong enough corpse, it was essentially a super weapon. The vermilion bird muttered, "How can there be such a perverted technique in this world?" Lin Moyu knew his technique was very powerful, but hearing these words from the vermilion bird's mouth was somewhat different. After all, the vermilion bird had seen a lot, having interacted with heavenly sovereigns for a long time. It had seen all kinds of techniques. Lin Moyu couldn't help but ask, "Is this technique really that perverted?" The vermilion bird said, "Your technique doesn't contain origin power, yet it can ignore space and time. As long as you have a strong enough corpse, you can kill enemies regardless of realm. Isn't that perverted enough? Come to think of it, the technique you used to devour the Black Blood Frenzy is also perverted, even more so than Supreme Realm techniques that incorporate origin power." The vermilion bird kept using the word perverted, and its gaze towards Lin Moyu had changed somewhat. Lin Moyu felt that he was now being viewed as a pervert by the vermilion bird. Following the vermilion bird's words, Lin Moyu asked, "Are there many items that contain origin power?" The vermilion bird shook its head, "Not many. Origin items also come in many types, some are very strong, some are garbage." Lin Moyu asked, "Can you explain in more detail?" Just as the vermilion bird was about to speak, a roar suddenly echoed through space. After being blasted over a dozen times by Lin Moyu, the white tiger had finally awakened. One roar followed another, the sound deafening and shaking their soul worlds. If it were an ordinary divine sovereign, their soul would likely have been shattered already. Chapter 2251, 2251. Chapter 2251. I wonder how the people of the battle realm will react. The white tiger's roar echoed through the starry sky, but the vermilion bird was indifferent. "Ignore it. This guy always roars for a while every time it wakes up. Let's continue." Origin power can be divided into several levels. The heavenly sovereigns of the past believed that the origin power of the great world was the strongest, followed by the origin power of small worlds, and then the origin power from the boundary sea. I don't know exactly where the origin power in the boundary sea comes from, but the heavenly sovereigns often went there, so there must be a source. However, that origin power is relatively poor, far inferior to that of the great world. The vermilion bird enjoyed teaching and considered Lin Moyu a comrade in arms, so it explained in great detail. The small worlds it mentioned were not like the small world Lin Moyu was born in. They were truly independent and complete worlds, just relatively smaller in scale, without heavenly sovereigns, and were called small worlds. The battle realm was also a small world, but it had grown to a certain scale. Perhaps one day it would give birth to a heavenly sovereign and become a great world. Whether a world has a heavenly sovereign is the key to its classification. Looking at the current great world, Lin Moyu found it somewhat laughable. It was clearly a great world, but now all the heavenly sovereigns had left, the divine path was broken, and it no longer deserved to be called a great world. Lin Moyu didn't know how strong the origin fire seed he had fused with was, but according to the vermilion bird, it should be a great world-level origin fire seed. He also didn't know where the mysterious master had obtained this origin fire seed and kept it until now. Lin Moyu suddenly asked, "In the boundary sea, can you see the reality of the great world?" He suddenly thought of another question. He had obtained a boundary seashell and saw the battle realm approaching. The Supremes in the battle realm also had the opportunity to obtain boundary seashells. He wondered what their reaction would be when they saw the great world. After all, the great world was so vast, hundreds of times larger than the battle realm. The people in the battle realm were probably already in despair. The vermilion bird said, "Actually, you can see some of it if you're strong enough, like at the peak supreme level. At that level, origin power and the soul are fused, possessing extremely strong perception. They can sense some conditions within the world, such as the strength or weakness of its origin power, and whether there are heavenly sovereigns." Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat, so, it's very likely that the battle realm already sees the great world as a treasure trove. It seems we need the heavenly sovereign saint to conduct more divine travels and take a closer look at the situation in the battle realm. The white tiger's roar finally stopped, and it fully awakened. "Which bastard disturbed my sleep? I'm going to eat you." The white tiger spoke human words, roaring as it looked towards Lin Moyu. Upon seeing the vermilion bird, it was visibly stunned. "Vermilion bird." It raised its paw to rub its eyes, confirming it wasn't mistaken, and then roared, "Vermilion bird." The white tiger transformed into a whirlwind, shattering the starry sky, and instantly appeared in front of the vermilion bird. Its huge paw hugged the vermilion bird tightly. The vermilion bird didn't dodge. This clearly wasn't the first time, and it was already used to it. As origin divine beasts, they had fought together and experienced life and death, forming a deep bond. "Vermilion bird, I never thought I'd see you again. This is great, truly great." The white tiger shouted loudly, its voice deafening, and its huge body trembled slightly with excitement. The vermilion bird finally managed to stick its head out. All right, if you keep hugging me, I'll be strangled to death." When the white tiger let go, the vermilion bird tidied its ruffled feathers. "Do you even know your own strength?" The white tiger chuckled, too excited, too excited. "I didn't expect you to complete your nirvana." The vermilion bird said, "It was Lin Moyu who awakened me, otherwise, I don't know how much longer I would have needed." Only then did the white tiger notice Lin Moyu. "You awakened the vermilion bird?" Lin Moyu nodded slightly. From the brief exchange between the white tiger and the vermilion bird, he could tell that the white tiger had a straightforward and even somewhat naive personality. The vermilion bird continued, "Not only did he awaken me, but he also awakened you." The white tiger's eyes changed slightly. It knew its own situation while it slept. Fierce winds protected it, making it difficult for even ordinary Supremes to approach. How could Lin Moyu, merely at the other shore realm, possibly awaken it? The vermilion bird said, "Enough talk. We have something to do." The vermilion bird's expression turned serious as it explained the situation with the black blood great world. Upon hearing about the black blood great world, the white tiger's eyes also showed deep disgust. Like the vermilion bird, it hated the black blood great world from the depths of its soul. They were mortal enemies, irreconcilable. The white tiger said, "Using bloodline tracking is no problem. I've done it before. Just give me a corpse, the fresher the better, preferably with blood still wet." Before it finished speaking, a piece of flesh appeared before it. This was a fragment from a saint lord of the black blood great world, with black blood still wet on it. Lin Moyu asked, "Will this do?" The white tiger's pupils contracted, and its nose twitched. A guy from the black blood great world, still as stinky as ever. This will do. Step back, I'm going to cast the spell. Lin Moyu and the vermilion bird stepped back, giving the white tiger space. The white tiger's eyes grew brighter, and its tiger eyes emitted a radiant glow. Lin Moyu felt a strong sense of origin power. Next, 2 beams of light shot from the white tiger's eyes, enveloping the piece of flesh. Spell. Bloodline tracking. The flesh silently melted into a mass of black blood. The black blood was extremely pure, and the stench became even more intense. The vermilion bird explained, people of the black blood great world are rooted in blood. They dedicate all their essence blood to the world, which then feeds them back, granting them power. The blood they retain to sustain their lives is actually filthy blood. This cultivation method turns every person in the black blood great world into something like a dried corpse, emitting a foul stench. Lin Moyu learned for the first time that the cultivation method of the black blood great world was so bizarre. Sacrificing essence blood, leaving only filthy blood, and then receiving immense power from the world's feedback. Lin Moyu instinctively felt that this cultivation method was wrong. It shouldn't be like this under normal circumstances. But each world has its own characteristics, and with his current realm, he couldn't make an objective evaluation. Under the white tiger's spell, the black blood quickly transformed, splitting into numerous thin lines that disappeared into the void. Each thin line contained a trace of the white tiger's origin power, which only it could sense, invisible to others. The vermilion bird asked, "How many locations are there?" The white tiger replied, "There are 4 locations in total, 3 within the domain and 1 outside, very far away." The vermilion bird immediately said, "Ignore the 1 outside for now. Let's deal with the 3 within the domain first." "All right." The white tiger agreed immediately. Never mind, just get on my back. You're too slow." Only the white tiger could track them, others wouldn't know the exact locations. Its speed was unmatched, even the vermilion bird couldn't keep up, let alone Lin Moyu. So it offered its back for the 2 to ride on. The vermilion bird shook its head, "You're too slow. Lin Moyu, open the star map and let the white tiger point the direction." Chapter 2252, 2252. Chapter 2252. A real monster. The vermilion bird said that the white tiger was slow, which made the white tiger very unhappy. The white tiger said, "Among the 4 of us, if I say I'm second in speed, who dares to claim first? How can a little guy at the other shore realm be faster than me?" The vermilion bird glanced at the white tiger without explaining further, as if saying, "Just watch and see." Lin Moyu had already opened the star map. The white tiger looked at it and muttered, "Why is this star map so different from our time?" The vermilion bird said, "Have you thought about how long you've been asleep? The great world has changed a lot over the years. We'll talk about this later. First, mark the locations of the black blood great world." The white tiger studied the star map for a while, finally matching the locations and marking them. The black blood great world was hidden in 3 places, one near the Golden Eagle clan's star region, close to the boundary area, another in the Black Tortoise battleground, and the last in the dark void between the Vermilion Bird and Azure Dragon star regions. After calculating the distances, Lin Moyu had a plan. "We'll go to the boundary area first, then the Black Tortoise battleground, and finally the dark void. When we go to the Black Tortoise battleground, let's see if we can awaken the Black Tortoise." The Vermilion Bird had no objections to Lin Moyu's arrangement. The dark void indeed needs purification, but that guy is not easy to awaken. The white tiger patted its chest confidently, "Leave it to me. Waking that guy up is a piece of cake. But you, kid, hurry up and show me how fast you can be." Lin Moyu smiled slightly, spread his wings of the dead, and activated the space law, opening a space gate. The white tiger was stunned for a moment, then shouted, "Space law, you're cheating. How can that count as speed?" The Vermilion Bird snorted, "Are you stupid from sleeping too much? Who said anything about comparing speed? Just admit he's faster than you." The Vermilion Bird originally said the white tiger was too slow, never mentioning speed. It was the white tiger who kept talking about speed. In its eyes, the space gate and speed were unrelated. It considered it teleportation. What it meant by speed was flying speed. The white tiger was speechless, angrily turning its head away from the Vermilion Bird. The Vermilion Bird spread its wings and slapped the white tiger on the head. "What are you standing there for? Get in." The white tiger muttered, "You're cheating." Although it was very dissatisfied, it still entered the space gate. Each space gate covered 10,000 light years, opening every 10 seconds, which was indeed much faster than flying. In just a few minutes, they crossed hundreds of thousands of light years and reached their destination. The white tiger muttered, why has the great world become so desolate? We didn't see a single star along the way, and the area has shrunk a lot. Lin Moyu explained, there used to be many stars here, but we've moved them all back to the human star region. The white tiger was puzzled, why do that? The vermilion bird slapped the white tiger on the head again, why ask so many questions? With your brain, what's the use of knowing? The white tiger was indignant, vermilion bird, we're good brothers, but you can't insult my intelligence. The vermilion bird rolled its eyes, does your intelligence need insulting? The white tiger bared its teeth in anger. At this moment, the vermilion bird slapped it again, stop talking nonsense and lead the way. The white tiger snorted and flew in a direction. Lin Moyu found it amusing. The vermilion bird clearly had the upper hand over the white tiger, and the white tiger was indeed not as smart as the vermilion bird, always at a disadvantage. However, the two had a good relationship. Although they bickered, they never got truly angry. The white tiger was very fast. Although it didn't understand the space law, it could traverse the starry sky with its supreme power. Lin Moyu used the power of time and space to increase his speed to the limit of 3.2 billion kilometers per second, barely keeping up. The white tiger thought Lin Moyu couldn't keep up and looked back, only to find Lin Moyu right behind it. Seeing this, the white tiger exclaimed, the power of time and space, you even understand the time law. Understanding both the space and time laws, you must be a monster. Lin Moyu found it strange, weren't there space heavenly sovereigns and time heavenly sovereigns in ancient times? The white tiger shook its head, that's different, that's different. The vermilion bird also said, indeed, it's different. Lin Moyu was curious, can you explain in detail? The vermilion bird said, we'll talk about it later. Let's handle the matter at hand first. They arrived. In the dark starry sky, a drop of pitch-black blood floated there. The blood was very small, only the size of a fist, even smaller than a drop of blood from some cosmic beasts. The blood had concealed all its aura, had no smell, and no luster, almost perfectly blending with the starry sky. Even with the undead vision, it was hard to see anything special about the blood. The soul eye was the same, it was difficult to detect from more than a kilometer away. No wonder we couldn't find it. It's indeed very well hidden. Lin Moyu had to admit that the Black Blood Great World, after all, was a great world and had extraordinary means. Fortunately, the Great World also had countermeasures, and the White Tiger's bloodline tracking could find them. The vermilion bird asked, what's the situation inside? The White Tiger said, there are quite a few people inside. Let me count. There are 2 Saint Lords, over a dozen other Shore Realm cultivators, and the rest are small fry, tens of thousands of divine sovereigns. The vermilion bird turned to Lin Moyu, do you want to handle it, or should I? Lin Moyu said, I'll do it. You two take a break. The white tiger stretched lazily, all right, I just woke up and haven't fully recovered my energy. It was so brazen about being lazy that Lin Moyu couldn't help but admire its thick skin. Lin Moyu lightly tapped his finger, and the bone hell silently appeared, enveloping the black blood. Hell fiends rushed out, opening their mouths to bite. At the same time, the Hellfire River boiled, raising huge waves that directly engulfed the black blood. The hell fiends could eat anything, and with a few bites, the black blood exploded. Space within the black blood collapsed, and countless cultivators from the black blood great world were blasted out. But they were already surrounded by the bone hell and were destined to be devoured. The people of the black blood great world struggled and roared, the Saint Lords leading the other Shore Realm cultivators in a frantic resistance. But against the endless hell fiends, their resistance was futile. Dealing with the remnants of the black blood great world wasn't difficult, even if there were half-step supremes. The real challenge was finding them, as they hid very deeply, like pests. Now, with the white tiger's help, the black blood great world had nowhere to hide. The white tiger looked at the bone hell and exclaimed, your spell is very strong, it even contains origin power. The vermilion bird said, it has fused with a great world-level origin fire seed. Of course, it's strong. The white tiger's eyes widened, wow, such good luck. Even the heavenly sovereigns used to fight fiercely over an origin fire seed. Lin Moyu said, white tiger, you're too kind. I was just lucky. The white tiger shook its head, no, no, no. Origin fire seed, power of time and space, this isn't just luck. Even the old fogey from the misty fog didn't have such good luck. The vermilion bird said, indeed, luck has its limits. Sometimes it's not just about luck. Like the space heavenly sovereign and time heavenly sovereign back then, they both wanted to understand each other's laws and form the power of time and space. But neither succeeded and had to give up in the end. Lin Moyu asked, "Is it that difficult?" The white tiger interjected, "It's not just about difficulty. There are many restrictions. The laws of time and space are very special, and the power of time and space is even more special. I don't know the specifics, but it's very hard to fuse them." The vermilion bird said, "It's right. Among the many laws, some are very special. Time, space, fate, and causality are all related to the boundary sea. We don't know the exact reasons." The white tiger continued, "Anyway, it's very special. For you to master the power of time and space, it can only be said that you're a real monster." Chapter 2253, 2253. Chapter 2253. The target is the Great World's origin. After clearing out the Black Blood Great World's hiding spot, Lin Moyu opened another space gate, heading towards the Black Tortoise battleground. The vermilion bird said, "Based on our experience, the other two groups of Black Blood Great World people should already know about our actions. They may be prepared, we need to be careful." The Black Blood Great World had their special communication methods. Their actions here would surely have alerted the other two hiding spots. They would certainly be prepared, waiting for them to arrive. The white tiger didn't care, so what if they're prepared? Even if they manage to get a few supremes, I'll blow them away with one breath. The vermilion bird said, "Don't boast. Many of the Black Blood Great World's techniques are still troublesome." The white tiger said, "Don't worry, I'm just saying. We've fought them before, what techniques haven't we seen?" The Black Blood Great World had many strange techniques that had once caused trouble for humans, even tricking heavenly sovereigns. Although they were ultimately suppressed by the heavenly sovereigns' powerful strength, those techniques were still unpredictable. Lin Moyu suddenly realized something. "Do you think the Black Blood Great World people hiding in the Black Tortoise battleground might have other purposes?" The white tiger instinctively replied, "They're just hiding, what other purpose could they have?" The vermilion bird fell into thought because of Lin Moyu's words. "You mean they might be trying to do something to the Black Tortoise?" Lin Moyu said, "It's just a guess. The Black Tortoise has purification abilities. If I were them, the first thing I'd want to deal with is the Black Tortoise." The white tiger snorted, "Even if we're in deep sleep, we're not that easy to deal with. Especially that Black Tortoise, it has the thickest skin among us four. To deal with it, unless a heavenly sovereign from the Black Blood Great World takes action, even peak supremes aren't enough." Lin Moyu wasn't as optimistic as the white tiger. Many things aren't determined by power levels alone. Who knows how many techniques the Black Blood Great World has? The vermilion bird said solemnly, "Don't be too optimistic. Some things are hard to say. Don't forget the Black Blood Great World has the ability to pollute and manipulate bloodlines." The vermilion bird's words made the white tiger's expression change slightly, but it still stubbornly said, "Anyway, I believe the Black Tortoise will be fine. It's best if nothing happens." Space gates opened one after another as they traveled at the fastest speed to the Black Tortoise battleground. Following the white tiger's bloodline tracking, they finally located a spot very close to the center of the Black Tortoise battleground. The starry sky here was dark, filled with a special aura. The vermilion bird frowned as soon as it left the space gate. "They've indeed made a move against the Black Tortoise." The white tiger shouted, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's go." Despite acting the most confident, it was now the most anxious to act. The three rushed towards the central area at top speed. For now, they put aside the Black Blood Great World and focused on checking on the Black Tortoise first. The dark aura grew thicker, and bloodlines appeared, crossing the starry sky like a large net, flying towards the central area. When they were still hundreds of billions of kilometers away, an angry roar shook the starry sky. The white tiger's expression changed. "The Black Tortoise is awake." The vermilion bird said, "The Black Tortoise must have been stimulated and woken up early." Lin Moyu activated his undead vision and saw the Black Tortoise's soul flame. The soul flame was very intense, indicating the Black Tortoise's aura was very strong. But within the soul flame, there was a strange blood color. The blood color wasn't thick, but it covered the Black Tortoise's soul like a large net, as if trying to devour it. Lin Moyu realized something was wrong. "The Black Tortoise is in trouble, hurry." The white tiger roared angrily, "Get on my back." The vermilion bird and Lin Moyu jumped on without hesitation. The white tiger's body was enveloped in fierce winds that distorted space. It seemed to use space laws to teleport, instantly crossing hundreds of billions of kilometers to arrive within 10 million kilometers of the Black Tortoise. Here, blood light filled the area. The net formed by bloodlines had firmly surrounded the black tortoise. The black tortoise was struggling desperately within the blood net, but the net was getting tighter and tighter. The black tortoise couldn't break free. The vermilion bird's eyes narrowed sharply. There's even origin power. When the black blood great world's origin shattered years ago, it broke into many pieces. No one knows exactly how many pieces there were. The black blood great world has been searching for the scattered origin power all these years. Who knows how many pieces they've found? They used 10 pieces of origin power to trigger the black blood frenzy earlier. Unexpectedly, there's still more here. The black tortoise's power was constantly purifying the black blood origin, but the black blood origin was very strong. The two were locked in an intense struggle. The white tiger said in a low voice, "The black tortoise's condition seems off." Lin Moyu immediately said, "The white tiger's soul has been polluted." The vermilion bird's heart sank. Not good. The black tortoise can purify dark powers, but it can't purify its own soul. This was the black tortoise's weakness, it couldn't purify its own soul. With its soul polluted, the black tortoise's purification power was much weaker than usual, putting it at a disadvantage in the struggle against the black blood great world's power. According to Lin Moyu's judgment, if this situation continued for another 100 years or so, the black tortoise would be completely polluted, turning from an origin divine beast into a puppet of the black blood great world. At that time, the great world's origin would be damaged again. The black blood great world might even be able to find the great world's origin through the black tortoise and pollute it. The black blood great world's scheme was extremely vicious. Their various methods all ultimately targeted the great world's origin. Strong auras rose as two black-robed figures appeared in the starry sky. They wore identical clothes, carried identical weapons, and their auras were almost identical. Both were half-step supremes. Lin Moyu murmured, "Two half-step supremes." The black blood great world was hiding quite deep. The white tiger snorted coldly, "Watch me bite them to death." At this moment, the two half-step supremes simultaneously took out origin crystals and put them in their mouths. Their auras skyrocketed, almost instantly reaching the supreme realm. Origin power enveloped their bodies, not inferior to the white tiger and vermilion bird. Behind them, several more powerful auras rose. 4 Saint Lords appeared simultaneously. The 4 Saint Lords fused in pairs, turning from 4 into 2. After fusion, they also reached the half-step supreme level. 2 half-step supremes temporarily ascended to supreme using origin power. 4 Saint Lords became 2 half-step supremes through fusion. In terms of combat power, they now surpassed Lin Moyu's group of 3. Lin Moyu said, "Can you two elders hold them off without any problems?" The white tiger replied without hesitation, "Of course, no problem. This kind of trash, I don't even take them seriously." The vermilion bird asked, "What are you going to do?" Lin Moyu said, "I might have a way to help purify the black tortoise's soul, but I can't be disturbed." The white tiger immediately asked, "Are you serious?" The vermilion bird didn't doubt Lin Moyu's words, "All right, we'll deal with them. You go save the black tortoise." Lin Moyu said, "It won't take too long, an hour should be enough." The white tiger guaranteed, "Go ahead, I promise no one will disturb you." Lin Moyu nodded slightly, took a step, and teleported, instantly appearing beside the black tortoise. He charged alone into the bloodlines. Countless bloodlines immediately covered Lin Moyu like a net. Gray mist rose from Lin Moyu's body as the bone hell appeared, instantly surrounding the blood net in return. The bone hell enveloped the blood net along with the black tortoise. Hell fiends rushed out and began to devour the blood net. On the other side, the vermilion bird and white tiger attacked simultaneously. Origin power surged as fierce winds and raging flames swept through the starry sky. Blood-colored sword light flashed as the black blood great world's powerful fighters swung their swords like rain, cutting through wind and fire. Both sides engaged in fierce battle. The starry sky rumbled as laws, rules, and space collapsed simultaneously. After 100,000 years, a supreme-level battle once again unfolded in the starry sky. Chapter 2254, 2254. Chapter 2254, Ice and Fire, Pain and Pleasure. The battle between Supremes was incredibly terrifying, especially when it involved origin power, elevating the intensity of the battle to unimaginable levels. The aftermath nearly swept across several light years, leaving the starry sky shattered. Supreme, really strong. Lin Moyu experienced a battle between Supremes firsthand for the first time, and just the aftermath nearly destroyed his bone hell. Fortunately, the vermilion bird and white tiger shielded Lin Moyu from most of the impact, allowing the bone hell to hold on. They had promised not to disturb Lin Moyu, allowing him to focus on his task. The blood-colored net was extremely sturdy, containing a large amount of origin power from the Black Blood Great World, making it difficult for the Hell Fiends to gnaw through. Lin Moyu approached the black tortoise. "My name is Lin Moyu, from the human race, a friend of the vermilion bird and white tiger." "I know." The black tortoise's voice was deep and heavy, clearly suppressing pain. Having one's soul eroded was undoubtedly painful, but fortunately, the black tortoise remained conscious. Seeing the arrival of the vermilion bird and white tiger, the black tortoise understood Lin Moyu's identity. In ancient times, the four origin divine beasts and the human race were comrades in arms, fighting side by side. Lin Moyu said, "I have a way to help you purify your soul, but it might be a bit painful." The black tortoise's voice remained calm and deep. "I'm not afraid of pain." Lin Moyu nodded. "Then open your soul world and let me in." "All right." Without any hesitation, the black tortoise chose to trust Lin Moyu. This trust came from the vermilion bird and white tiger. The soul world is the most important part of a being, and it's not something to be easily opened. Lin Moyu entered the black tortoise's soul world, which was vast yet simple. Originally, its soul world should have been pure and empty, with only its soul present. Now, the soul world was filled with blood-colored threads, densely interwoven, occupying most of the soul world, leaving little space. The soul itself was also entangled with numerous blood threads, which were continuously eroding the black tortoise. Lin Moyu observed for a while, understanding that the black tortoise's situation was dire, with its soul surface already eroded by the blood threads. It couldn't remove these blood threads on its own. Lin Moyu's arrival immediately triggered a reaction from the blood threads. A large number of blood threads surged towards Lin Moyu, who raised his hand, and flames ignited in his palm. The world-burning fire burned fiercely, surrounding his soul. The blood threads that touched the world-burning fire were instantly incinerated. The power of the world-burning fire was immense, capable of refining even the entire world, let alone mere blood threads. Seeing this, a gleam of hope flashed in the black tortoise's eyes. It knew Lin Moyu wasn't lying, he could indeed deal with the blood threads. Lin Moyu, carrying the world-burning fire, burned a path through the interwoven blood threads in the soul world, reaching the black tortoise's side. "It will be very painful," Lin Moyu warned one last time. The black tortoise let out a low cry. "I can endure it." Lin Moyu didn't hesitate any longer. The longer he delayed, the worse it would be for the black tortoise. The world-burning fire surged, instantly enveloping the black tortoise's soul, cutting off all the blood threads entangled with its soul. With all the blood threads cut off, they had no support, and the black tortoise let out a low, comfortable groan. Lin Moyu then directed a small flame to touch the black tortoise's soul, being extremely careful. The world-burning fire was too strong and could burn the black tortoise's soul if not handled properly. Fortunately, Lin Moyu had experience with self-immolation and knew how to control the intensity. The world-burning fire shrank into a small flame, burning the surface of the black tortoise's soul, not penetrating deeply. Wherever the world-burning fire passed, the blood threads crumbled, along with parts of the black tortoise's soul. As the soul burned, the black tortoise trembled continuously, letting out muffled groans. Lin Moyu asked, "Are you okay?" The black tortoise suppressed its pain. "It's stimulating, keep going." Stimulating. It was probably finding pleasure in pain, comforting itself. No one whose soul was injured would describe it as stimulating. Lin Moyu had experienced this pain himself. Just burning a small piece of his soul mark was excruciating, and the black tortoise had to burn its entire soul, enduring pain many times greater. Lin Moyu controlled the flame as carefully as possible, trying not to harm the black tortoise's soul. Soon, a section of blood threads was cleared, creating a gap in the dense net. Similarly, a small gap appeared in the black tortoise's soul. The gap was insignificant, but for the soul, it was a considerable wound. Lin Moyu stopped, pointing his finger, and a white energy flew out, the power of life falling on the black tortoise's soul. The burned wound was nourished and immediately began to heal. Refreshing. The black tortoise suddenly roared, its voice filled with excitement. Its voice transmitted from its soul to the outside world, causing the vermilion bird and white tiger to pause in their battle. The white tiger exclaimed, "What the heck, why is the black tortoise so excited?" The vermilion bird smiled. "It seems something good happened." The black tortoise was as steady as its body, rarely showing emotional fluctuations. For it to be so excited, it must be something good. They both knew it was likely something Lin Moyu did that made the black tortoise so excited. It seemed Lin Moyu's method was working. They fought even more fiercely, wind and fire roaring, enveloping the cultivators of the Black Blood Great World. The people of the Black Blood Great World also heard the black tortoises roar and grew anxious. No matter how they attacked, they couldn't break through the combined defenses of the vermilion bird and white tiger. After a few seconds, the power of life had mostly healed the previous wound. Lin Moyu resumed burning other areas, continuing his previous work. He alternated between burning and healing, gradually clearing the blood threads from the black tortoise's body. The black tortoise experienced alternating pain and pleasure, feeling both agony and comfort, like ice and fire. Half a day later, the blood threads on the black tortoise's soul were finally cleared. Lin Moyu released a large amount of life force, enveloping the black tortoise, making it feel extremely comfortable. Lin Moyu looked at the blood threads still densely packed in the soul world and snorted coldly. The world-burning fire exploded, sweeping through the entire soul world. The black tortoise's soul world roared continuously, and in an instant, all the blood threads were incinerated. The soul world became clear, and the Black Blood Great World's attempt to erode the black tortoise was completely thwarted. The black tortoise's deep voice resonated, "Thank you." Lin Moyu waved his hand, "You're welcome. Rest and let your soul fully recover." With that, Lin Moyu left the black tortoise's soul world. The bone hell was still contending with the origin power of the Black Blood Great World. The origin power was very sturdy, and the blood threads were difficult to gnaw through. The hell fiends had been gnawing for a long time, but most of it remained. However, the bone hell still had the upper hand. Given enough time, it could clear all the blood threads. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry and took his time. He transmitted to the vermilion bird and white tiger, "The black tortoise is fine now." Upon hearing this, both let out a long howl and fought with even more enthusiasm. After a while, the long silent black tortoise finally opened its eyes. Its roar shook the starry sky, and an endless ocean appeared out of nowhere. Origin power surged like giant waves, rolling and moving. Chapter 2255, 2255. Chapter 2255. Some things are hard to explain to you. The endless ocean contained the origin of the great world and possessed purifying power. Wherever it passed, the starry sky was purified and became clear. All powers not belonging to the great world were washed away by the ocean, completely disappearing. The people of the Black Blood Great World who were fighting fiercely with the vermilion bird and white tiger quickly began to retreat, trying to escape. They knew their operation had failed. The black tortoise had recovered, and if this battle continued, they would inevitably be defeated. Trying to escape? No way! The vermilion bird and white tiger roared simultaneously. Flames swept across the starry sky, and beyond the flames were endless fierce winds, giving the black blood people no chance to escape. The ocean rolled in, and the black tortoise appeared above it. It rode the waves, roaring angrily from its mouth. The ocean exploded in the starry sky, almost instantly covering a range of several light years, vast and boundless, completely blocking the retreat of the black blood people. The black tortoise joined the battle, and the endless ocean surged towards the black blood people. The black blood people seemed to feel despair, knowing they could no longer escape. The two half-step supremes drew closer to each other. They took out the origin crystals from their mouths and touched them together. At the same time, the two transformed into polluted blood, flowing into the origin crystals. Terrifying power began to boil in the starry sky. Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. They're going to self-destruct. The self-destruction of origin crystals would be more terrifying than even a supreme self-destructing. If the self-destruction succeeded, everything within a light year would likely be erased. The black tortoise let out a low voice, filled with deep disdain. "It's useless. Your ancestors tried this before, and it was completely ineffective. Be purified, trash." With its roar, the ocean raised huge waves, the origin power surging rapidly, completely enveloping the starry sky. The vermilion bird and white tiger retreated simultaneously. The white tiger shouted loudly, "We'll retreat first, we'll leave this to you." The vermilion bird slapped the white tiger's head. "Why so many useless words? Let's go quickly." At the same time, it said to Lin Moyu, "Retreat." Lin Moyu didn't hesitate and immediately followed. The three retreated 10 billion kilometers in an instant. Boom! With a huge explosion, the origin crystals self-destructed within the ocean. The black tortoise roared continuously, its origin power erupting again, suppressing the explosion. This was a contest of origins. The black tortoise's origin power purified all powers not belonging to the great world. The white tiger spoke with disdain, trying to self-destruct in front of the black tortoise. No way, don't they remember how many supremes self-destructed in front of it before? The result was just like letting out a fart, gone with a poof. The vermilion bird said, the black tortoise has the strongest defense among us four, and it also has the ability to purify foreign objects. It can even purify the power of self-destruction. Lin Moyu nodded slightly. Indeed, the self-destruction that should have swept across a light year only affected several billion kilometers of starry sky before being completely suppressed. The black tortoise's defensive power was not just its own defense, but also a defense for the great world. Unfortunately, such a powerful origin divine beast could not purify its own soul. Nothing in the world is perfect, everything has flaws. The black tortoise could purify all things, but it could not purify its own soul. This was its flaw. All the power of the black blood great world in the starry sky was purified. The white tiger let out a loud roar, let's go. It followed the bloodline tracking towards the hiding place of the black blood great world. The distance wasn't far, they arrived there in just a moment. It was again a drop of black blood floating in the starry sky, a very inconspicuous drop of black blood, but hiding the remnants of the black blood great world inside. Lin Moyu didn't say a word and directly used the bone hell to devour the black blood. The black blood exploded, and the black blood people hiding inside screamed incessantly under the encirclement of the bone hell. The vermilion bird said, there's one more location. After dealing with it, let the black tortoise purify all the dark void. The white tiger said, the last location is outside the domain. We can't let them off either. The vermilion bird said, no rush. Let's do things one by one. They won't be able to escape. A moment later, the black tortoise rode the waves and flew over. It said to Lin Moyu, thank you. Lin Moyu smiled, you're too kind, elder. I just did what I should do. The white tiger joked, oh black tortoise, this is why I say you shouldn't sleep so deeply. If it weren't for us, you would have almost become the black tortoise of the black blood great world. The black tortoise shook its head, it wouldn't have happened. If things were irreversible, I would have self-destructed. The white tiger liked to joke, while the black tortoise was extremely serious. The two formed a stark contrast. The vermilion bird said, don't waste time. Let's go to the next location. Lin Moyu immediately opened a space gate, and the one human and three beasts headed towards the dark void without delay. In the dark void at the border of the Azure Dragon and Vermilion Bird star regions, Lin Moyu and the Vermilion Bird had searched here once before but found nothing. Now knowing the hiding form of the black blood great world, it was indeed difficult to discover. There was no light in the dark void, only endless darkness. In such circumstances, without the white tiger's bloodline tracking, it would indeed be difficult to find. Entering the dark void, the three divine beasts all showed expressions of disgust. The power of the black blood great world was too strong here. Lin Moyu said, we all say that the dark void is the scar left by the black blood great world in the great world. The black tortoise spoke in a low voice. Back then, facing the black blood frenzy, the origins of the two great worlds collided. The origin of the black blood great world shattered, while the origin of the great world was injured. As origin divine beasts, we also returned part of our origin power to the great world, thus falling into slumber. But we never expected such areas to form. As it spoke, the black tortoise erupted with origin power, raising an endless ocean. Wherever the ocean passed, darkness dissolved, and starlight once again occupied space. The white tiger said, you purify slowly. We'll go deal with the black blood great world first. Saying this, it led Lin Moyu and the vermilion bird towards where the black blood great world was located. It was still an inconspicuous drop of black blood, only fist-sized, hidden in the darkness, completely undetectable. Neither the soul eye nor the undead vision could detect anything unusual. Even if Lin Moyu had conducted a carpet search, he would still have missed them. It must be said that the hiding methods of the black blood great world were indeed astonishing. There was no resistance here this time. It seemed the black blood great world had exhausted their methods. Lin Moyu directly used the bone hell to devour them. Watching the black blood people struggle and die in the bone hell, Lin Moyu felt neither joy nor sorrow. At this point, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. At last, it's all taken care of. The white tiger said, there's still one location outside the domain, quite far away. After the black tortoise finishes purifying the dark void, we'll go there. The vermilion bird said, no rush for now. I think we should go find the Azure Dragon. The white tiger asked in confusion, what for? Do you want to wake it up too? That guy, apart from fighting and killing, what else can it do? The vermilion bird glanced at it. The vermilion bird's gaze was like looking at an idiot, clearly not wanting to explain much to this guy. The white tiger angrily said, Vermilion bird, what's with that look? The vermilion bird said, some things are hard to explain to you. The black tortoise flew over, its gaze somewhat serious. I can sense the origin of the great world. The situation of the great world is very bad. The white tiger's attention was immediately diverted. Right, you haven't told me what happened all these years. What exactly happened to the great world? I also feel something's not right with the great world. The vermilion bird said, no rush. Wait until we see the Azure Dragon, then we'll talk about it together. The white tiger huffed angrily, you're keeping me in suspense. The vermilion bird ignored it, clearly meaning, that's how it is. What can you do about it? The black tortoise had a steady temperament and wasn't in a hurry. Chapter 2256, 2256. Chapter 2256. Not the limit of laws. Wherever the vast ocean passed, darkness retreated and the starry sky regained its clarity. The dark void was truly vast. Even with Xuanwu's speed, it would still take many years to purify it all. White Tiger was too impatient to wait. Under its nagging and urging, Vermilion Bird and Black Tortoise had no choice but to temporarily pause the purification and head to the Azure Dragon battlefield first. After all, the purification wasn't urgent and could be continued later by Black Tortoise. Space gates opened repeatedly as the one human and three beasts quickly entered the Azure Dragon battlefield. White Tiger clicked its tongue. Space gates are really convenient. Too bad your realm is still a bit low. When you reach Saint Lord, you can cross 100,000 light years each time. At Half Step Supreme, you can cross 1,000,000 light years each time. Now that's fast. Lin Moyu remained expressionless, but inwardly thought, so Luo Shen has already reached Half Step Supreme. Back then when Luo Shen opened a space gate to send him 1,000,000 light years away, Lin Moyu lacked experience and thought Luo Shen was just a Saint Lord. He didn't expect Luo Shen had already reached Half Step Supreme. Lin Moyu asked, then as a Supreme, wouldn't space gates be able to instantly cross tens of millions of light years and reach the edge of the world? How big was the Great World anyway? Probably only tens of millions of light years or so. Even if it was a bit bigger, it couldn't be that much larger. Other shore, Saint Lord, Half Step Supreme, each level increased the distance by tenfold. By that calculation, a Supreme space gate should indeed be able to cross tens of millions of light years. Vermilion Bird said, it doesn't work like that. Space gates have a limit of 1,000,000 light years. Even the Space Heavenly Sovereign back then, using his origin power, could only instantly cross 2,000,000 light years at most. Lin Moyu said, so that's how it is. Space gates actually have a limit. Black Tortoise's deep voice sounded, all things have limits. Some things may seem limitless, but that's only because we haven't found their limit. It's not that they don't have limits, but that we can't find them, or we've reached our own limits. White Tiger shouted, Black Tortoise, you slept for so many years but you still talk like this. Can't you say something people can understand? Black Tortoise said, it's hard for me to explain to you. It tossed the exact same words as Vermilion Bird back at White Tiger, infuriating White Tiger. Lin Moyu felt Black Tortoise's words made a lot of sense. It was like an ordinary person seeing an impossibly tall mountain they couldn't climb, thinking it must be the tallest mountain in the world. They might not realize there could be even taller mountains beyond. Ordinary people only see their own limits, not the true limits. Lin Moyu said, I think perhaps this isn't the limit of space gates, but our own limits. Vermilion Bird pondered for a moment, what you say makes sense. I hope you'll be able to see higher mountains. Black Tortoise said, if you can get through this, perhaps you'll have the chance. White Tiger looked confused, what are you all talking about? Can't you say something normal people can understand? Vermilion Bird and Black Tortoise turned away simultaneously, ignoring this guy. White Tiger's intelligence was really beyond help. Entering the core area of the Azure Dragon battlefield, Lin Moyu finally saw the last origin divine beast, Azure Dragon. Azure Dragon's body glowed with a blue-green light, its form not much different from the divine dragons of the dragon race. It slept motionlessly in the starry sky, with a faint blue-green light radiating from its body. No origin aura was emitted. Even from billions of miles away, no aura could be sensed. This was different from divine beasts like Vermilion Bird. There were no other cosmic beasts here, but looking beyond the area of billions of miles, many fragments could be seen floating in the starry sky. The fragments emitted the aura of divine sovereigns, dead but not decaying. They were the shattered remains of cosmic beasts. They had died here, torn apart by an invisible force. Vermilion Bird said, within 100 million kilometers is Azure Dragon's killing domain. We can't get through. Among the 4 origin divine beasts, Azure Dragon had the strongest combat power, far surpassing the others. Vermilion Bird and the others were equivalent to Supremes. With their origin power, they could rival peak Supremes. But Azure Dragon could fight head-on with heavenly sovereigns. However, back then among the 4 divine beasts, Azure Dragon was the most severely injured. It was unclear how much it had recovered. Lin Moyu asked, then how do we awaken it? Black Tortoise said, I should be able to. Vermilion Bird also nodded, all right, be careful. If you can't do it, come back and we'll think of another way. White Tiger said, get ready, I'll give you a boost. Black Tortoise retracted its entire body into its shell. Then with its shell facing Azure Dragon, White Tiger whipped up fierce winds that pushed Black Tortoise towards Azure Dragon. With White Tiger's assistance, the shell's speed was much faster than usual. The method to awaken Azure Dragon was similar to White Tiger's, requiring a certain degree of stimulation. As soon as the shell entered Azure Dragon's domain, a deafening rumble sounded. The starry sky shook as space rippled like waves. The shell emitted a watery light, resisting the attacks from the killing domain. The power of the killing domain was very strong. The shell's speed kept decreasing. At this moment, White Tiger roared again. Its body enveloped in fierce winds, it charged forward, accurately hitting the shell a second time along its trajectory, giving it another boost. The shell accelerated again towards Azure Dragon, while White Tiger immediately retreated. Through his soul eye, Lin Moyu saw White Tiger spraying blood from countless wounds. By the time White Tiger returned, its body was covered in horrific gashes. Lin Moyu waved out life force to heal White Tiger. White Tiger's injuries quickly recovered. White Tiger excitedly shouted, that should do it. Tisk tisk, Azure Dragon's power is really terrifying. Vermilion Bird said, Azure Dragon's origin power governs killing, of course it's powerful. Azure Dragon's power wasn't leaked externally, but concentrated within its domain. The more concentrated it was, the more it proved its strength. The shell's speed decreased again under endless attacks. At this point, Black Tortoise erupted with its power, waves of water pushing it forward. It couldn't stop. If it stopped now, all their efforts would be wasted. Lin Moyu and the others watched nervously, hoping Black Tortoise would succeed. Finally, after being pushed by wave after wave, Black Tortoise managed to reach Azure Dragon. With Black Tortoise's roar, the waves suddenly became violent. Its speed abruptly increased as it crashed into Azure Dragon like a meteor. Azure Dragon's body flashed with blue-green light, blasting Black Tortoise away with a bang. Black Tortoise was sent flying millions of kilometers before finally leaving Azure Dragon's domain. Did it work? White Tiger asked dazedly. At this point, even Vermilion Bird wasn't certain. Black Tortoise had indeed hit Azure Dragon, but whether that was enough to wake it up was hard to say. Lin Moyu used his undead vision and saw changes in Azure Dragon's soul flame. The originally calm soul flame began to grow active. Lin Moyu's soul also sensed this change. It worked. Azure Dragon is starting to wake up. White Tiger said, how do you know when even I don't know? Lin Moyu said, I can sense Azure Dragon's soul becoming active. Vermilion Bird said, your soul is very sensitive. Lin Moyu nodded. His soul was indeed very sensitive, far surpassing others. Vermilion Bird continued, having a sensitive soul is a good thing, especially if you want to become a supreme or even a heavenly sovereign. It gives you a huge advantage. A sensitive soul doesn't guarantee becoming a heavenly sovereign, but all heavenly sovereigns have sensitive souls. The heavenly sovereigns call this soul sensitivity, spiritual perception. Chapter 2257, 2257. Chapter 2257, the beginning and end of the great world spiritual perception. Lin Moyu made note of these 2 words. From ancient times to the present, humans have experienced many great calamities, and much information has been lost. The existence of the 4 divine beasts like the Vermilion Bird can indeed bring back a lot of information from ancient times. Black Tortoise flew back. Its shell was covered in wounds, but fortunately it was hard enough to withstand the damage. The Azure Dragon was indeed powerful. Just its killing domain while asleep was enough to block most Supremes. The vermilion bird's nirvana, the white tiger's fierce winds, the azure dragon's domain, that's why the black blood great world ultimately chose the black tortoise. Only the black tortoise was the easiest to approach, but unfortunately their plan still ended in failure. Black tortoise asked, "How did it go, was it successful?" Vermilion bird nodded, "It was successful." Black tortoise grunted, "That's good. If it didn't work I would have tried again." The azure dragon's soul was becoming more active, its soul aura starting to spread out. At this point, everyone could sense it. After waiting a while longer, the azure dragon's body suddenly moved. Its body, 100 million meters long, suddenly stretched out straight into a line, as if stretching lazily, before curling up again. The azure dragon was very quiet, not making a sound as it turned its head to look at the vermilion bird and the others. It retracted its domain, and its huge body flickered in the starry sky, instantly appearing in front of the group. At this point it had shrunk from 100,000 meters to just 10 meters, about the same size as the vermilion bird and white tiger. "How are you all awake?" The azure dragon's voice was crisp, even sounding somewhat pleasant. Lin Moyu could sense that the aura on the azure dragon's body was still somewhat weak. Its injuries didn't seem to have fully healed yet. After 100,000 years, its injuries still hadn't recovered. One can imagine how severe the azure dragon's injuries were back then. Vermilion bird said, "Something happened with the great world, so we woke up." Azure dragon asked, "What happened? I can sense that the great world's origin seems very weak, the situation is very bad." White tiger looked at Lin Moyu, "Now can you explain in detail?" "The more detail the better." Lin Moyu nodded and recounted everything that had happened after the ancient Great War. He spoke for a long time, and the four origin divine beasts listened quietly. Sometimes White Tiger wanted to interject, but was stopped by Vermilion Bird's gaze. As Lin Moyu narrated, the auras of the four divine beasts kept fluctuating. Especially when he talked about what happened 10,000 years ago when humans nearly went extinct, killing intent surged from them. Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and Azure Dragon were all deep in thought. Only White Tiger kept looking around, not knowing what it was thinking. Azure Dragon slowly opened its eyes. "I never imagined humans would face such great calamities. It really wasn't easy. However, I don't understand why the great world's origin has reached this state now." White Tiger said, "If you can't figure it out then don't think about it. You may have been pretending to think just now, but I know very well that with your brain, you can't think of anything." Azure Dragon looked at it silently, itching for a beating. White Tiger raised its head, "The truth hurts the most. Although you don't like hearing it, what I said is all true." Azure Dragon snorted, its tail suddenly lashing out and sending White Tiger flying out of sight with a bang. "You know it but still say it. Your brain must be sick," Azure Dragon said disdainfully, with a hint of sunere. White Tiger quickly flew back. It wasn't injured. Azure Dragon had held back. Azure Dragon warned, "If you keep spouting nonsense, next time I'll hit you so hard you won't be able to come back." White Tiger snorted, "I am unyielding in the face of violence. If you think you can deal with me through violence, forget it." "Alright, stop arguing." Vermilion Bird suddenly spoke up, having finished its contemplation. Black Tortoise had also stopped thinking at this point and slowly said, "I think I understand the general situation now." After the black blood frenzy, the four of us fell into slumber. The great world's origin was damaged and difficult to recover. Those heavenly sovereigns went to the boundary sea, knowing that in their lifetimes, the great world would not collide with another world again. The black blood great world's origin couldn't be absorbed, and they couldn't obtain origin from other worlds, so the great world's origin couldn't recover. They also couldn't advance to become Tao sovereigns. Vermilion Bird added, "Originally those heavenly sovereigns were still hoping to defeat the black blood great world, and like before, seize the black blood great world's origin to make the great world ascend again, paving the way for them to become Tao sovereigns. No one expected the black blood great world's origin to be so special that it couldn't be absorbed at all. Not only could it not be absorbed, it even caused severe damage to the great world's origin. All the heavenly sovereigns, calculations and schemes ended in failure. How laughable indeed." Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat as he listened, and he blurted out, "Could it be that the great world's encounter with the black blood great world wasn't a coincidence?" Black Tortoise chuckled, "How could there be so many coincidences?" After learning that the great world couldn't recover and they couldn't advance to become Tao sovereigns, those heavenly sovereigns left. Their departure took away part of the great world's origin, adding injury to injury for the great world. Once they left, the Great World began to decline. In the Great War, all the divine paths were severed. It became difficult for supremes to appear in the Great World, let alone heavenly sovereigns. There was also no one who could repair the Great World. Black Tortoise's voice grew colder, and Lin Moyu's heart grew more alarmed as he listened. The secrets of the Great World were finally revealed. The Great World's current state was inextricably linked to those heavenly sovereigns. Please vote. It was the heavenly sovereigns who altered the Great World's trajectory, deliberately causing a collision with the Black Blood Great World. The heavenly sovereigns wanted to use the Black Blood Great World to make the Great World ascend, paving the way for them to become Tao sovereigns. Unfortunately, they miscalculated. Not only did they ruin the Great World's chance to ascend, but they also cut off their own path to becoming Tao sovereigns. Knowing they could only wait for death in the Great World, these heavenly sovereigns left, and even took away some of the already insufficient origin of the Great World. This made the Great World's situation even worse. From then on, the Great World began to decline. The territory continued to expand, but resources could no longer regenerate. Its power grew weaker and weaker, and collapse was only a matter of time. Only the 4 battlegrounds, due to the presence of the 4 origin divine beasts, still had new resources being born. Everything developed in the worst possible direction, eventually reaching a point of no return. The Great World's current state, besides the many karmic causes, was partly brought about by those heavenly sovereigns. Those heavenly sovereigns, as people of the Great World, ended up abandoning the Great World. How laughable! Lin Moyu spoke softly, his tone full of mockery. Vermilion Bird said, actually, we can't blame them. At the heavenly sovereign level, with nowhere to advance, that feeling is understandable. A heavenly sovereign once told me that for beings at their level, having no way to advance is an incredibly terrifying despair. So they would try everything possible to gain a chance to advance. As for this world, they had attachments to it too, but compared to advancing, the world was something they could abandon. Black Tortoise also added, it's not that the world can be abandoned. For the sake of advancing, there's nothing that can't be abandoned. There was also a heavenly sovereign who said that if they could become Tao sovereigns, they would come back to save the Great World. Lin Moyu said disdainfully, after leaving the Great World, can they still advance to become Tao sovereigns? They can. Azure Dragon suddenly spoke up, giving Lin Moyu a definitive answer. Black Tortoise also said, indeed they can, it's just much more difficult. Compared to staying in the Great World, the difficulty is much higher. With the Great World completely hopeless, they had no choice but to leave. Vermilion Bird looked at Lin Moyu, do you hate them? Lin Moyu shook his head, I don't hate them. I have no right to hate them. Because I'm not a heavenly sovereign, I can't understand their despair. I also don't know if I reach the heavenly sovereign level, whether I would make the same choice as them. I wouldn't now, but what about in 100,000 years or 200,000 years? Faced with death, would my thoughts change? I really don't know. Lin Moyu was speaking the truth. Time can change many things. No one can guarantee that their future self will have the same thoughts as their present self. Chapter 2258, 2258. Chapter 2258. His level is higher than ours. Lin Moyu did not blame those heavenly sovereigns. Each person has different positions and perspectives, and their choices naturally differ. He had no right to blame others, and he couldn't guarantee what choices he would make if he were in their position. He could only say what decisions he would make now. Lin Moyu's Tao heart was firm. His current goal was to do everything possible to save the Great World and restore it. White Tiger, after listening for a long time, muttered, what's the point of talking about ancient matters? It's better to talk about the present and the future. Vermilion Bird surprisingly did not refute White Tiger's words, indeed, we should talk about the future. The 4 origin divine beasts did not have much sympathy for the tragic experiences of the human race. They belonged to the Great World, not to the human race. As long as the Great World still existed, even if the human race perished, they wouldn't be too sad. In their eyes, the human race was no different from the intelligent cosmic beasts. They had once fought alongside the human race, so their relationship with humans was relatively good. Black Tortoise said, now that I am awake, I will purify the remaining power of the Black Blood Great World in the Great World. White Tiger said, there are still some remnants of the Black Blood Great World outside the domain. I will go and deal with them. Actually, these are not the key issues. The key issue is that in over 1,200 years, that thing called the Battle Realm will arrive. According to what Lin Moyu said, although there won't be any heavenly sovereigns in that world, there will be no shortage of supremes and peak supremes. And our current situation is so bad. Black Tortoise said, indeed, the great world can no longer withstand another impact. However, the arrival of the battle realm is also an opportunity. It might be the chance for the great world to recover. Azure Dragon said, in ancient times, I once had the combat power of a heavenly sovereign, but now I no longer have it. There are still over 1,000 years left. I need to recover some of my strength. Back then, Azure Dragon returned most of its origin power to the great world, so its current combat power was no longer at the heavenly sovereign level. Not only Azure Dragon, but Vermilion Bird, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise were even weaker. Although they could still contend with peak supremes by borrowing origin power, the battle realm was also a world with origin power. In a real fight against the peak of the battle realm, except for Azure Dragon, the other three would mostly lose. Moreover, there were no supremes left in the human race. In this state, Azure Dragon, as the top combat power, needed to be as strong as possible to increase the chances of victory. Black Tortoise said, I remember that many people left the domain back then. Among them, there seemed to be supremes, and some who retired from the battlefield were also supremes. White Tiger said, even if there are supremes, what use are they? Their lifespans have long been exhausted. Even if we find them, they would only be corpses. Do you intend to make corpses fight? Lin Moyu's eyes suddenly lit up. He thought of a possibility. Corpses could indeed be used for fighting. Not only could they fight, but their combat power would be stronger than when they were alive, and they could self-destruct again after dying. Many thoughts emerged in Lin Moyu's mind. At this moment, Vermilion Bird's eyes lit up. It said to Black Tortoise, do you mean to retrieve the origins of those supremes? Black Tortoise nodded slowly, that's right. After those supremes died, their rule worlds might not have dissipated, and there would still be some origin power left in their rule worlds. Even if they dissipated, they might have gathered their origin power for their descendants. The outer domain is not a good place. All kinds of things can happen. Those supremes would have tried various ways to protect their descendants. They might have even left their rule worlds for their descendants to live in. Vermilion Bird asked, if we find them, what do you plan to do? Black Tortoise said, bring back the origin. If they agree, bring the people back too. If they don't agree, kill them. It spoke calmly, as if discussing something trivial. Human lives were indeed insignificant in their eyes. To them, as long as they could save the great world, it didn't matter if the human race perished. White Tiger said, after we eliminate the pests of the black blood great world, I'll use the blood of the human race to activate the bloodline tracking and find those guys in the outer domain. We still have time. I'll find them one by one. We can always find some origin. With origin, our combat power can also recover a bit. At this moment, White Tiger looked at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu, I need the blood of the human race for bloodline tracking, and the stronger the better. The strongest in your human race should be half-step supremes. Quote. Boom. Lin Moyu's killing intent surged, and he stared at White Tiger with a hostile gaze. White Tiger was startled. Lin Moyu, what are you doing? The other three origin divine beasts also looked at Lin Moyu in surprise, not knowing what had happened to him. When they talked about killing people earlier, Lin Moyu had no reaction. Lin Moyu said in a low voice, that half-step supreme is my sister. White Tiger was stunned, its mouth twitching, and its voice softened immediately. Sorry, I didn't know. I was just joking. Actually, I only need a little blood, not much. Lin Moyu asked, how much blood do you need? White Tiger smiled, just 1 or 2 drops of essence blood will do. Lin Moyu extended his finger and forced out 2 drops of essence blood. Is this enough? The 2 drops of essence blood floated in the starry sky, radiating powerful energy. Although Lin Moyu was only at the other shore realm, his physical body and soul were extraordinarily strong, far surpassing ordinary other shore cultivators. His soul was already comparable to a half-step supreme, and his physical strength was the same. With both his soul and body being strong, his bloodline was naturally powerful. Seeing Lin Moyu's essence blood, the 4 origin divine beasts widened their eyes. How can this be? Such rich origin power. How is your origin power so strong? I feel like your origin power is stronger than ours. They looked at Lin Moyu as if he were a monster. Lin Moyu naturally knew that his blood contained origin power. Because he possessed origin spells, the origin power had long seeped into his bloodline and soul. He stared at White Tiger. Is this enough? Enough, enough. White Tiger nodded its big head repeatedly. Good, take it. Lin Moyu waved his hand, sending the 2 drops of essence blood to White Tiger. Although essence blood was precious, he didn't lack it. His bloodline was strong, his energy like a dragon. Even if he gave away 1 or 2,000 drops of essence blood, it wouldn't matter. White Tiger was about to collect the essence blood when Black Tortoise said, "Wait a moment." White Tiger asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Black Tortoise looked at Azure Dragon, "Azure Dragon, check if the origin power in the essence blood is useful to us." They were origin divine beasts, their power coming from the great world's origin, and they were extremely eager for origin power. If the origin power in Lin Moyu's essence blood was useful to them, it would be a great joy for them. Azure Dragon's eyes emitted 2 beams of light as it began to sense. The 3 origin divine beasts watched it, not daring to breathe. Lin Moyu was curious. If his essence blood was useful to them, he could give them some. Of course, it wouldn't be for free, there would be a price. Lin Moyu had already thought of the price. If they became stronger, the chances of the great world winning the battle against the battle realm in 1,000 years would increase. Lin Moyu wasn't worried they wouldn't work hard. Their lives were tied to the great world. As long as the great world lived, they wouldn't die. So they would fight desperately for the great world. Azure Dragon studied for a long time and finally sighed, "No, it only contains the aura of origin, not the actual origin power. Even if it had origin power, we couldn't use it." Chapter 2259, 2259. Chapter 2259, The small world has disappeared. White Tiger opened its mouth, "Why?" Azure Dragon said, "Because his origin power does not come from the great world, but from the boundary sea." It quietly collected the 2 drops of essence blood without saying a word. Lin Moyu found it strange, "Isn't origin power all the same?" "What's the difference?" Vermilion Bird said, "Whether your origin power comes from a more powerful world or the boundary sea, it's different from ours. We are the origin divine beasts of the great world, our origin power comes from the great world. The great world has the ability to devour and absorb other origin powers, but we don't." Well, if that's the case, Lin Moyu had no solution. White Tiger took away the 2 drops of essence blood. "After I deal with the pests of the black blood great world, I'll use your essence blood for bloodline tracking. You might feel something at that time, don't be surprised, it's nothing." Lin Moyu nodded slightly, "All right, I understand." Azure Dragon let out a light cry, "Let's each do our own tasks now." After saying this, Azure Dragon was about to return to the center of the battlefield to go back into hibernation. 1,000 years of time wouldn't allow it to recover much strength, but even a 1% increase would be good. Lin Moyu suddenly called out to Azure Dragon, "Wait, Elder Azure Dragon, I have something else to ask you." Azure Dragon was very polite and had a good attitude, "Go ahead." Lin Moyu said, "Now that all 100 divine paths are broken, and divine paths are difficult to repair and can only be rebuilt, the talisman Heavenly Sovereign told me 3 methods. One of them is to completely dismantle a divine path, then a new divine path can be rebuilt on the original site." Azure Dragon let out a light hum, "You want me to dismantle the divine path, right?" Lin Moyu frankly admitted, "Yes." Azure Dragon shook its big head, "This is indeed a method, but unfortunately, we can't do it. The divine paths are related to the origin of the great world. Besides the origin, they also contain the power of heavenly sovereigns. I am an origin divine beast of the great world, I cannot use the origin of the great world to attack the divine paths. If I don't use origin power, my combat power is not strong enough to clear away the power left there by heavenly sovereigns." Lin Moyu didn't doubt Azure Dragon's words, "I see, it seems this path is not feasible." Azure Dragon said, "So you only have 2 methods left. Either absorb the origin of the battle realm, perhaps the great world can evolve the 101st rune. However, given the current state of the great world, this probability is not high. The last method is to build a divine path that directly reaches the origin of the great world, but this divine path, even the heavenly sovereigns of ancient times couldn't build it, it's too difficult." Lin Moyu wasn't disappointed in his heart, he had anticipated this answer, "I understand, we'll take it one step at a time." Vermilion Bird chuckled, "The great path is difficult, but there's always a glimmer of hope. Don't be discouraged, believe in yourself." "Thank you." Azure Dragon returned to the center of the battlefield and went back into hibernation. Its domain enveloped the starry sky, and its aura began to rise again. This hibernation was different, it was voluntary. While hibernating, it communicated with the origin of the great world, hoping to recover as much power as possible. Black Tortoise let out a low growl, "I'm going to purify the dark void." Vermilion Bird directly landed on White Tiger's back, "Let's go to the outer domain to eliminate the last remnants of the Black Blood Great World." Lin Moyu nodded, "I'll send you off." He opened space gates, sending the 3 divine beasts away one by one. He sent Black Tortoise into the dark void, then sent White Tiger and Vermilion Bird to the border area. White Tiger and Vermilion Bird passed through the border area towards the outer domain. This trip was not only to hunt down the remnants of the Black Blood Great World but also to search for humans who had been scattered in the outer domain since ancient times. Who knows if those people are still alive, perhaps they've all died out. The outer domain is not a good place. The further from the inner domain, the more dangerous it becomes. Most of these dangers come from the Boundary Sea. The power of the Boundary Sea seeps in from the edges of the world. The power of the Boundary Sea is very strong and can evolve all kinds of strange phenomena. Lin Moyu had been to the Boundary Sea once, and even he didn't dare to enter it. The Boundary Sea gave him a very dangerous feeling. If the world itself is strong enough, the power that seeps in will be weak, and naturally, the danger will decrease. But the current great world is like a ball with holes everywhere. One can imagine how strong the power seeping in from the Boundary Sea is. Lin Moyu wasn't worried about White Tiger and Vermilion Bird. After all, they are the origin divine beasts of the great world, they should be safe within the great world. A day later, Lin Moyu returned to the human star region. As soon as he returned, the Human Emperor Network actively contacted him, inquiring about the situation. After learning that everything was fine, the Human Emperor clearly breathed a sigh of relief. The human race is very busy now, the resources brought back need a long time to be transformed and arranged properly. The human race is also bustling with activity, with the Human Emperor constantly issuing new tasks, involving the entire human race in the transformation. In addition, Lin Moyu learned from the Human Emperor that in a few days, the Star Space Fish people would come to visit. During the previous war between humans and the 100 races, the Star Space Fish people chose to remain neutral. In Lin Moyu's eyes, this choice was not the best. However, everyone knows the relationship between the Star Space Fish people and the human race. They were originally vassals of the human race, a race created by heavenly sovereigns. They have no karmic enmity with either the great world or the human race, so the human race didn't bother with them. If it were any other race that dared not to take sides, they would have been directly eliminated. The human race didn't make a move, and the 100 Races Alliance would certainly have made a move. Now that the human race has achieved a great victory, with only a few races left in the entire great world, countable on one hand. As long as the Star Space Fish people aren't too stupid, they would naturally come to visit and establish good relations. Lin Moyu didn't have much feeling about their visit, he didn't even want to participate, after all, he had past grievances with them. However, when he heard that the leader of the delegation was Yu Qingru, Lin Moyu changed his mind. This princess of the fish people had once risked her life to bring him information. Lin Moyu would not forget this favor. Not far from the Vermilion Bird Star region, in the starry sky that was once the border of the human race, this was also where Lin Moyu's small world was located. Lin Moyu returned here again. After many years, he wanted to see his small world again. But when he arrived here, Lin Moyu suddenly discovered that the small world had disappeared. The location of the small world couldn't be wrong, but the small world was really gone. How could this be? Thinking back to how the small world had been flickering before, it did seem like it was about to leave. It's not difficult for a small world to leave, even he could take the small world to other places, but where did the small world go? Where could it have gone? What about Antares? Wasn't he supposed to come out? Hundreds of years have passed, why hasn't he come out yet? What exactly happened in the small world? Suddenly, his connection with the small world appeared again. The small world just abruptly appeared before his eyes, as if what he had seen before was just an illusion. Chapter 2260, 2260. Chapter 2260. My soul zero. The small world indeed reappeared, so suddenly, without any warning. Lin Moyu was very close to the small world at this time, less than 100,000 kilometers away, which was not safe. Less than a second after the small world appeared, Lin Moyu's soul sent out a frantic warning. Danger, danger, danger. Lin Moyu's heart stirred, and the laws of time and space intertwined, forming the power of time and space, enveloping his entire body. Mastering the two laws completely and intertwining them into the power of time and space was Lin Moyu's confidence in coming here again. The danger of the small world comes from the power of time and space. I will use the power of time and space to deal with it, hoping to reduce the danger significantly. As he thought this, a vast power of time and space already rushed towards him. The two forces of time and space collided, and Lin Moyu's whole body trembled, being forcibly shaken away. His soul was also impacted by the power of time and space, twisted and deformed by the collision. So strong, Lin Moyu marveled, the opponent's power of time and space far surpassed his own. At the same time, he also showed joy. His idea was correct, the power of time and space could indeed block the opponent's attack. At least his life was safe, but unfortunately, his power of time and space was not strong enough to counter it. Let's try again. Lin Moyu continued to envelop himself in the power of time and space and charged towards the small world, and another powerful force surged. With a bang, Lin Moyu was shaken away again. This time the force was stronger than before. Lin Moyu felt his power of time and space almost shattered. At the same time, he seemed to hear the sound of water. As he heard the sound of water, his connection with the small world rapidly weakened. The small world once again became illusory in his vision and disappeared in an instant. Only the sound of water continued, the sound of the boundary sea. The last time he came, Lin Moyu had heard the sound of the boundary sea. The disappearance of the small world is related to the boundary sea. Lin Moyu was now very certain that a mysterious strong person was manipulating everything behind the scenes. This mysterious strong person was outside the great world, trying to take the small world away. Such an existence had already surpassed the realm of heavenly sovereigns. Why take the small world? Is it for the staff of calamity? Antares is still in the small world. What should I do? Lin Moyu thought for a long time but couldn't come up with a solution. He couldn't even get close, he could only watch the small world disappear. Lin Moyu felt a deep sense of powerlessness. Antares, don't let anything happen to you. You said you would go to the dragon clan with me, you must be safe. At this moment, Lin Moyu thought of the first batch of people who came out of the small world, they also mysteriously disappeared. Could it be that they were also taken out of the great world? Such a strange thing happening under the eyes of the human emperor network. Now thinking about it, it was highly possible. Lin Moyu watched from a distance, not approaching any closer. After a while, the small world reappeared. Then the small world disappeared again, and after a while, it reappeared. Disappearing, reappearing, constantly cycling. It was like starlight, flickering on and off. Compared to last time, the disappearance time was getting longer, and the existence time was getting shorter. This also indicated that the connection between the small world and the great world was getting weaker and weaker, and it was not far from completely leaving. In the end, it's still a matter of strength. The slight pride brought by exterminating the 100 races and clearing the remnants of the black blood great world vanished at this moment. Even when facing beings like the origin divine beasts, Lin Moyu did not feel any frustration. Even if he had to fight, he dared to fight with all his might. But facing his birthplace, the small world, Lin Moyu felt a sense of powerlessness. His consciousness entered his soul, and Lin Moyu saw his soul world, a world full of vitality. Starlight glittered, stars dotted the sky, spell stars hung high, and the world tree naturally stretched out, covering the sky and the sun. Lin Moyu saw the coffin of slumber, it was always by his side, and inside it, his 4 wives were sleeping. His soul reached out and gently touched the coffin of slumber, thoughts of longing surged. So tired. Yi, Qian, Yuner, Hanner, I really feel a bit tired. Becoming a supreme is so difficult, becoming a heavenly sovereign is even harder, I don't know if I can succeed. But don't worry, I won't forget what I said, I will become a supreme, become a heavenly sovereign, I will defy fate. Lin Moyu's soul felt tired, a feeling he hadn't had in a long time. Since entering the great world, he had been busy, never stopping in his pursuit of his goals. At this moment, facing the powerlessness of the small world, he felt exhausted. I really want to sleep. His soul touched the coffin of slumber, and unknowingly, Lin Moyu fell asleep. The sleep of the soul, like the hibernation of an origin divine beast, completely relaxed his soul. The world tree dropped countless branches, slowly wrapping around Lin Moyu, sending a large amount of soul power into his soul. The wood god flower king left by the talisman heavenly sovereign was rolled over by the world tree and sent into Lin Moyu's soul. The wood god Flower King melted quickly upon touching his soul, wrapping around it like flowing water. The aura of his soul was rapidly strengthening. The 9-colored dragon soul crystal unknowingly completed its sublimation, a 10th color gradually appearing, although still weak compared to the other 9, it was indeed a real 10th color. This was a miracle, even in the history of the dragon clan, such a miracle had never occurred. The 10-colored dragon soul crystal spat out a breath of dragon breath towards Lin Moyu's soul. The dragon breath was warm and nourishing, making his soul more pure and clear. The divine cauldron, which had been silent for many years, automatically flew up, coming above his soul, pouring out a large amount of golden light. This mysterious substance called divine power seemed to amplify the effects of the world tree and the 10-colored dragon soul crystal, making Lin Moyu's soul even purer. In the originally purple gold soul, a golden flame suddenly appeared. The aura of origin wafted from the flame, gradually spreading throughout the soul world. Lin Moyu knew nothing of this. He remained in a state of deep sleep, his soul completely relaxed, sleeping soundly. Even in his sleep, his soul still held the staff of calamity, and at this moment, the soul gem on the staff of calamity lit up, emitting a faint light. The faint yellow light flowed like water, and wherever it passed, whether it was divine power, the dragon breath of the 10-colored dragon soul crystal, or the soul power of the world tree, all were fused together, forming a whole, completely absorbed by his soul. The soul gem on the staff of calamity acted like a commander, with all the various powers like soldiers, completely obeying the commander's orders. Under its effect, his soul absorbed all the energy, becoming more perfect. It looked like purple gold jade, with a flame burning in the center of the jade. Brat, didn't I tell you not to come? Why do you keep coming back to court death? I told you, I'm fine, don't come looking for death. Lin Moyu vaguely heard Antares's voice, and his soul, which had been in deep sleep for an unknown amount of time, slowly awakened. Lin Moyu opened his eyes and found himself still in the starry sky, with the small world billions of kilometers away. The small world was flickering, gradually disappearing, another cycle. For a moment, he couldn't tell if he had heard wrong, or if it was just a dream. Antares, is that you? Lin Moyu sent a message towards the small world. If it was really Antares, he should be able to hear it. A few seconds later, Antares's voice boomed in his ears. Get lost, I told you not to come, so don't come. Lin Moyu didn't leave, but continued to ask, when exactly can you come out? A few seconds later, Antares's voice sounded again, there was an accident, I'll be out soon. The more you come, the later I'll come out. Get lost, when I come out, I'll naturally find you. The small world disappeared, and Lin Moyu's connection with it was completely severed. Instead, traces of the boundary sea's aura appeared in the starry sky. This time, the perception was clearer than ever before, like a nearsighted person suddenly putting on the right glasses. Not only the boundary sea, but Lin Moyu felt the entire starry sky becoming clearer, as if he had opened the eyes of his soul. My soul.